Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. How's everybody doing today? Genevieve. I need to update those stickers. Hey, Deborah, Shelly, Life's a Beach, Chelsea, Darlin Tammy, Cheryl, Shelly W, and Caroline D. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Jada, Queen Bella, Go Bulldogs. How's everybody doing today? Weekends go by so much quicker when school's back in sesh, but I hope everybody enjoyed theirs. Let me get this up over here. Red with the number 22. Thank you. All right. Let me switch my account over. So, of course, I've listened and participated in some conversations this weekend, but I respectfully disagree with a lot of people's thoughts on what is happening. Hey, Jack of all trades, Kate the Great. Good morning. Good morning. We went to see, take this sweater off, it's getting a little warm. Hey, Poetic. Julie's Crafting, my friend. Good morning, Katie. We went and saw the new Beetlejuice, and honestly, save your money. While it was okay, it wasn't something I'd ever go spend theater prices on again. You know what I mean? So, did it out of the excitement. Wanted to relive my glory days, and it was a letdown. Miss Liverbird, Forever Army, Sierra, sorry, Juno, Just Robin, Larry, Mystery, Billy, Leslie, Bayou Babe. You loved it, Billy Sunday, really? I didn't love it. Hey, Lori. I'm just going to get the popcorn holders. I wanted them, but the cup was like $22 and the popcorn holder was like, gosh, was it 30? Which I really wanted the popcorn holder. I mean, that was really cool. And there's many things you can use it for thereafter, but I couldn't justify those. Hey, Colleen. Good morning. Shelly, Crimson Moon, Jax, going solo. My daughter went yesterday too. She said the same thing about Beetlejuice. It just wasn't. It would, yeah. We waited all these years. It just wasn't what I don't know. But others enjoyed it, such as Billy. Hey, Betty Boop. So that is where I respectfully disagree with people that I do respect, right? I don't think for 1 minute, not a single second, not even, I tried. Listen, I tried going down like, all right, let me try looking at it from this perspective. And I still think, hell no. There's just no way. There's just no way. Hey, T Berry, Chrisette, Life's a Beach. I guess I'll wait till I can watch at home. I would, Brandon Barn. I would. I wouldn't recommend going. Yeah, Robin. It just wasn't. It was more than silly. I mean, my sister and I kept looking at each other like, "Is this real? Like, this is what this is it? This is what we're here for." Good morning, Remy. Yay, Chrisette. Don't tease me with a good time. Hey, Fred. Good morning, proud fur mom. So yeah, I would yeah. If you have another way to watch it, I'd watch it that way. No possibility whatsoever. Maybe we'll take a poll. Just another human. I feel like I'm watching a parody with this. I agree. Betty is in Tennessee, Genevieve. Good morning, gotcha. So I want to start off with this because I know a lot of people are like getting very, David, I need to move this thing. A lot of people are getting very passionate that like they believe, that things are being done intently, and I just don't. Good morning, Lilith. I didn't say it sucked. I didn't say that. I would watch it. I just wouldn't pay theater prices to watch it. I like this. A different movie. You have to think how creative minded Tim Burton is. I would never compare it to the original. Yeah. Halloween, we can't do mask or anything fall in the face, head, but I'll be spraying the hair. I like that idea. Hey, do our Diddy. Do our Diddy. Nancy, good morning, Judy. Exactly. I wish I would have waited a little bit, paid the rent price, put it on the projector, did a fire, did all that. Hey, Lindsay Lee, good morning, Denim in Midwest. So I do not for 1 second, Stassi, believe that this guy is I'm sorry, I don't believe he is up for the FBI. No way whatsoever. No way whatsoever. Because do you all recall what I told you about this guy the other day? He is anti government. This guy has no respect for authority. He doesn't have respect for the government or the police. He is always looking to start some type of argument. You keep getting hit by lightning? They just can't do it like they used to, Remy. And I dare say that the graphics were better on the original Beetlejuice than they were the new one, which is weird. I agree, Billy. You know it. Who said he was? Well, there's a lot of people speculating. Nobody has actually said he is, but there are people that are speculating that perhaps he is. And, this is all with intent. This is all with purpose. Just sit back and watch. And again, I respect them. I respect their opinion. I just strongly disagree. I think this is nothing more than somebody looking to reignite their channel. Hey, Val and Tiffany. Love the soul dance. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Just another human. There were aspects of it that were really cool and funny and, you know, again, watch it, but just don't pay for it or pay for it. So far, Nick has insulted most that talk about this. Right. So people have messed up the investigation. He's kept and saved a case while not even knowing the basis of the case. So imagine my non-surprise when I seen what he did, which is on my thumbnail. I'm going to go ahead and get this up on the screen for you all. Imagine my non-surprise when I seen that. Not surprised one bit. Because that is who and what he is. And let's face it, that is what he is here for. He is an agitator. I know people are like, well, he's a troll. He's a troll. No, here's the thing. Nick doesn't know he's a troll. He doesn't know he's a troll. Nick is not a troll. What Nick is Nick is an asshole. Nick isn't a troll. So when people are like, well, this is what he does, he's a troll. Who labeled this man a troll? Did anybody see him trolling during Danilo Cavalcante? I don't believe this guy's a troll. I believe this guy believes that he is of such high importance when he's really nothing. That's what I believe he is. I do not believe for 1 minute that this guy is a self-announced troll. I mean, come on. So anyway, of course, Nick goes ahead and what does he have to do? Agitate, because he is nothing more than an anti-government criminal. So he writes this. Taco Tuesday or Tennessee Tuesday? Already jokes, right? Once again, I thought he was a professional, hired by the elite, backed up by all the big guys and big names and big money. I thought he was here to be professional, strictly about Sebastian, no favoritisms, no, no bias, just strictly here for Sebastian and a safe return. But just like his Haktui thing, here he is, Taco Tuesday or Tennessee Tuesday. Is he going to keep, what does he get out of this professional that is hired by people to go to Tennessee to investigate the disappearance of Sebastian? Do they get the opportunity to make jokes about it? Like, should I go to Tennessee or should I have tacos? I don't know. What does your parole officer say? Tell us when you get cleared to go. Why aren't you there already? So anyway, I hear there's a case challenge in the First Amendment. Hey, at Dog the Bounty Hunter, be careful, brother. They might get you next. Well, why wouldn't they get you? Aren't you going? Are you nothing more than a man with a phone? He's clearly biased. Very proud for her mom. A storm of trouble, shiz and giggle, for sure. Hey, Mystic Butterfly. Agent 99, good morning. Really, Hurley girl? Yeah, I mean, tell me this right here doesn't say a lot, beats him. It does. Hey, whatever, in Sumner County, do you arrest everybody who covers the case or only those who discuss the untold story? What's the untold story? So right away, he's backing up that Betty is just having her amendments fringed, and she did nothing wrong. Asking for a friend. Gov. Bill Lee. What's going on in Sumner County? We got a missing teen. They're worried about public relations. Come on, man. But here's the thing, Genevieve. He didn't handle it really well. He sat filming in a fan. He sat filming. And then he went and he tried to do the same thing, agitate the government. It's literally the same exact thing he did in Danilo. Anyone with information is asked, whatever. So right here we have this guy. I don't I don't think so, Irene. Respectfully, I know people want to act like there's symbolism. This guy's not smart enough for symbolism. He's a fucking idiot with a phone. People are giving him too much credit. Too much credit. I'm sorry, honestly. I don't think they're purposely calling Seth Sean because it's this big secret meaning, and I don't think so. You all may, and that is fine. Think whatever you think. I don't think so. I think people are giving him too much credit, honestly. I mean, do you all think, does anybody in here think that this is like some big elaborate plan? And there's going to be like secret talk and secret. I just, no, I don't. Sorry, I don't. Wish I could, because then I would have more hope in everything that's going on. But unfortunately, I don't. So I was really happy to see this because, regardless again where you think, hey, Lenny, I'm all set with anyone who excused BHB's behavior, right? And imagine if these things were being done to Seth Rogers, wrong is wrong. Stacy Hall, good morning. Hey, Robin. Saying Katie is innocent or guilty, but I think the police told her to sit down and shut up. Probably. I don't know if she's innocent or guilty either. Nick speaks and spews and BS spews out of his mouth. I don't buy anything he's saying. Not only that, but if you were watching last night, every time Nick made like a stance on something, if the chat went against what he was saying, he tried to walk it back to the other side. You know why? Because he's just looking for viewers. No. Do you think Nick is the one that? No. No. No, I don't think this was a big elaborate plan. I think this was nothing more than Nick seeing the attention JLR was getting off of this. Nick has always idolized JLR and tried to follow in his step. Nick's content dried up. The convict that he supposedly was chasing, that was getting no views or interaction on his channel, was done. It was all over with, and he needed something else. And this was that something else. That's all I think it was. And I think he reached out to Dog and said, hey, Dog, there's this case that can help with, blah, blah, blah. And maybe Dog has the right intent. I don't know. But I definitely do not believe for 1 second Nick does. I don't. Hey, Crime Stories Obsessed. This is a weird one. This is a weird one. This one makes me very uncomfortable what is going on here. And it's very upsetting to see so many people believe that this guy is anything more than an imposter. It's sad. Hey, Rebecca. So I was really happy when I seen the lab comment on this, because the lab has people that listen to him that would never listen to me because of our disagreements in this case. But there's one time I feel like people should come together. It is now. Because I feel like people should come together for the simple fact that there are a lot of people who truly care about Sebastian that are going to be, they're going to be bamboozled. That's it. They're taken advantage of. So the lab makes a statement over here. I feel like it's maybe a little small on your screen. It looks a little small on mine. But he says, I feel a sense of responsibility here and would like to speak up about it. There are wolves in sheep's clothing that have thrown their hats, in all capital, in Sebastian Rogers' case. Now, this is a subliminal message, right? Hats, that is. I'm not here to bash, only to warn. Do not fall for this. If you respect my opinion at all, you will avoid this stuff at all costs. I see some very good people being deceived and led by their Karen hearts. He is not who he says he is. Take care, Josh. I don't, Genevieve, honestly, I don't care. He has this one correct. He has this one correct, and he has the reach of people that I would never have the reach of. And I think people need to be warned. Like I said, I do believe there are a lot of really good people that truly care about Sebastian, that believe this guy when he comes out here spewing the nonsense he is spewing. Yeah, but spiritual me, and I bet you Nick didn't even watch it. I bet you Nick just shared it because it was JLR and it was a way to tag and at JLR. Like, hey, JLR, because of your, yeah, no. Oh, and what you know what I find funny too? Hey, Sirius Black, think about it this way. This is what I find to be funny too. If you listen to Nick on that retweet, right? Like you just pointed out, spiritual being, on that retweet, he says to JLR, because of you and your audience, this has caught our attention. Because you stayed on top of this has caught our attention. But what does he say during his live stream with his sunglasses while he's walking in circles? He says, because of YouTube and your antics, this has went down the water pipes to some very powerful and rich people. Well, which one is it? Right, Georgia Peach? Which one is it? Alexis C? Is it because JLR was so persistent and stayed on top of this that it reached it all the way to Nick, big old busy Nick, whose other content just dried up? Or is it because YouTube caught the eyes of some very rich and wealthy people? Thank you, Kathy, for hitting the thumbs up on your way in. I really appreciate that. Do you, Robin? If anybody wants to come up and explain, excuse me, or have a discussion about it, I would love it. I don't think we have some good cop, bad cop. I think we're giving too much credit to idiots with phones. Honest to God, I do. I don't. Do you really think that the police are going to entrust a sting operation in the hands of these people? I'm losing my voice here. New kid in town. Thank you very much, babe. Because I know why. I know why he hasn't. Hey, Trish. Good morning, my friend. Jim Rebel, let me see what you said. Dog's Foundation page doesn't even work except for the donate button. He is represented by agency out of GA, and you can book him for events showing, right? Which is what Nick the Hat did. Nick booked Speaking with Dog, the bounty hunter, through Betty. Okay, through Betty. Betty fronted him the money of $400, and he owes Betty $400. If Nick couldn't pay Betty the $400 he owes her, where do you all believe he's getting $25K from? Think either way, Dog is going to bring attention to the case and put some pressure on the guilty. Even if he is going for the wrong parents right now. I don't know. Yay, some logic. Hello.
What's up? What do you mean, like Betty paid him for like the $400 to appear? I'm sorry, I'm a little lost with that one. I have a question for you.
Yeah. So this is my understanding of it. You know how you can do you can hire like Cameo.
Yeah.
Right? My understanding is Betty did some type of Cameo, or Betty set up Nick. I don't know if it was Cameo or through the back door, but basically, in order for Nick to talk to Dog the Bounty Hunter, it was $400, and Betty paid that, and Nick was supposed to pay her back.
How do you know that?
Betty said it.
Betty said,
yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, I did find his charity. It has no 990 since 2022.
Oh, the big donate button, that charity?
Yeah, it apparently has no 90. You know, like how like the charity we looked up, Michaela's Mutts,
Yeah,
had a 990. He shows no income, but meanwhile he's been in multiple events raising money for his both charities, which is not even the name of the charity which he has his wife's name under. It's under his wife's name. So
okay, this is what it was. Sorry, I didn't think it was Cameo because nobody's paying $400. Betty sold a photo of Dog to Nick the Hat, and Nick never paid her for the photo. Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you.
Okay.
That makes more sense. Okay. And then I think that's Nick just ran into Dog during this other case, and now they act like they're friends. I don't know. Yeah. So that's interesting. So it's not an actual organization as expected. I mean, I'm not surprised there.
Like, look at this. Like, tell me how that's like. That's. How do you not have a 990? How do you not file anything under $50,000? And you've been running this organization for 2 years? That's crazy to me.
And I'm pretty sure in his book, he says he's like millions in debt. People are saying, I mean, I haven't read it, so I don't know.
Yeah, and this is an article from 2023 in which he used this.
Do you want to share screen, beat him, or?
Sure, I don't mind.
BHB did an interview with Dog during Petito incident. That's right. So Betty sold that to Nick, and Nick sold it to TMZ.
So, like, here is this event in which he raised money in 2023. Bounty of Chief Malone's house. We see restaurant. I'm going to scroll down to where the part. Let me see. Trying to get to the part where he says, okay. Okay, 20 tickets are $20 a via ticket. The festival will raise money for the Rescue Hearts Alabama Chapman's charity organization, the Dog Foundation, according to organization. So he charged money for this event in 2023, $20 a ticket, but yet you go to his freaking
website.
You go here to the actual foundation where someone actually found the INE number, and this is under his wife's name, not his name, his new wife's name, and there's nothing. There's zero. So this organization has existed since 2022, incorporated in 2022, yet there is no 990. And if you know what a 990 is, basically if you make less than $50,000, you file a 990. Your taxes still need to be available for people to review. I can even pull up Tyler Feller's fucking organization. I can look up his tax records for his channel. I can look up. I looked up Michaela's Mutts. Nothing there. And if you actually look for like, just to show you, let me see. Let me see.
Can't be in his name due to tax liens.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, and if you go to his website, none of the websites work. Like, I don't understand. Like, none of the actually explains to you what the hell is going on. That's the weird thing.
Like a typical con man.
I'm not going to say it, Justine, for legal reasons. For legal reasons, I'm not going to say that. But
yeah. What do you?
And like, when you go here, if you go to the IRS site, you know, when you look up non-organizations here, just go here. Wrong one. Sorry. Let me grab it. I'll answer your question when I pull it up.
I was going to say, what do you think of people that are saying by speaking about Nick at all, we're wasting like a commenter just said, and no disrespect to you, commenter, I think it's a great statement. What do you think of the people that are saying we're wasting valuable time by speaking about Nick? Because to me, I think it's an asinine statement to make. But people are like, there are some people that are adamantly saying, don't pay attention to Nick, don't speak on Nick. And I don't know if that's more like, don't give him the attention. But then they're also backing it up by, because we're being distracted from what matters.
Yeah.
I think that it's okay to speak about several different things. Like, I don't think it distracts from anything.
Yeah. I think it's perfectly fine to speak about Nick because Nick's inserted himself in this case, and also he's inserted himself because if you don't warn people about people who have a sketchy past who might be coming into the situation with the intent of building their platform, then you're kind of just leading lambs to the slaughter. By the way, this is his wife, by the way. This is Dog the Bounty Hunter's wife.
Well, the statements Nick was making last night, so as soon as he saw that the chat was kind of like disagreeing with him, he would then try to change his stance just a little bit. And it was obvious to me that he's just trying to give the audience what they want.
Yeah, he's basically, what he's doing is he's basically trolling everyone. He's saying the most outrageous things he knows is absolutely asinine and stupid, because I doubt that his lawyers, I mean, like, he probably even told his lawyers to be like, state something that's like that, so that he gets attention. People watch his channel, it builds his channel. I mean, at the end of the day, it's eyeballs. You want attention. Attention is the new currency. So clout is the new currency. So I mean, like, and the truth of the matter is that the man has not done any sort of missing persons case where he actually did anything. He has no experience, and he's a complete waste, to be honest with you. I mean, he talks about this grand organization, but it's just like a confidence man, an individual that states that they know all these great people and he's famous and all that stuff. At the end of the day, he never mentions names. He never mentions organizations, and those people never associate with him. So all we know is this guy who runs around in the park by himself with a phone, talking about how he's working for the Illuminati. And if this guy didn't have a nice pair of glasses and a suit, we would think he was a fucking QAnon crazy person.
Right. Absolutely agree.
I mean, like, let's be real. If this guy was like, wore like, old clothes and stuff like that, we'd all think he was a nut job. But because he presents himself with these nice clothes that he wears, a nice pair of glasses, everyone actually takes him somewhat seriously. I don't take the man seriously. I want you to name your organizations.
Not only that, but if he was as, as professionally recognized, oh, my thing's all messed up. I was on the other site. If he was as like professional as he wants us to believe and backed by such higher ups and stuff, like you pointed out the other day, stood out to me. Where's his office?
Yeah,
Where's his production studio? Where's, why, where he's walking around the woods?
you're talking. There's millions and millions of dollars you have, and you're in Pennsylvania, by the way. And you know the rents in Pennsylvania is not like New York City or Brooklyn or any other
Right.
place. So you could probably find a nice office for a good price per month to rent out for your operations. But where is his office? Where is this? Why are people giving this man money? He's a LARPer. I mean, the whole website says I'm a LARPer. I'm a guy pretending to be this grand guy. At the end of the day, he's just a guy who does anything for publicity. Will sell his soul for publicity. You can look at his past. He walked into a police officer station with drugs to stop the drug dealers. That's a publicity stunt.
Right.
Um, Everything he's done is for publicity. He even went to jail for publicity for lying about that. That government worker making a racist statement about him. So why would you ever trust anything this guy says?
Right. And then last night, when people kept asking about the at night agency, they were being deleted and blocked.
Mhm.
It was weird. Like at one point, he calls Chris a side piece. They've been married for 8 years.
Yeah, and he says, "Don't pick sides. Don't pick sides. Don't we don't pick sides." Meanwhile, the guy you're working with on national TV basically accused Katie of stashing Sebastian in a hideaway place, and that it's a custody dispute. It's like, how do you know that, sir? You don't.
Right.
And then, like when people down the rabbit hole questions him about that, he blocks her.
Yep.
He blocks her. It's like it's ridiculous. It's like this is not a transparent group of people. This is a sketchy group of people. I mean, like they might not be asking for money now, but wait until down the road. I guarantee you it's going to come up eventually. They don't immediately hit you with the money before they
No, they put on the ads every few minutes and they tell you all how much they appreciate the memberships but that's not what they're here for. That's what they do.
I'm going to correct some. Anyone asks for money online is online grifter. No, if a grifter is someone who's basically tries to sell you something that he cannot deliver. Like if you're on the show, you're watching this show right now. Okay, this is Granny's watching. You're watching because Granny's watching is giving her opinions on situations. Okay, that is not a grift. That is basically her providing a service. You buy memberships, you give her money, you give her donations. If Granny was watching suddenly walked away and just had some random dude off the corner of the street and had a voice changer, then that would be like a grift. That would be like a scam or something like that. I'm trying to give an example.
Right. Or if I said to you all, hey, yeah, I'm going to solve this case and I'm going to go to Tennessee and I'm going to bring in the cavalry, which cracked me up. No. Betty told her Chad Nick went to jail for not revealing his sources. Yet that's the same story that was
That's a
sold to
lie.
me when I was asked to keep, well, don't say anything, blah, blah, blah. That was my story. The story was that Nick was given that from police officers, but to protect his police officer sources, he took the hit for it. That the email was real.
Yeah, and that's a lie.
Absolute
Because they
lie.
checked their servers and they didn't even find any. You know what I mean? And they checked his laptop and it came from him. He clearly created that to just try to get famous, and he got dumb enough and he got caught. That's the truth. And he went to jail because he was chasing clout. The guy is a wackadoo.
He's a larper. And not only that, but he was also sending whatchamacallit, he was hiring escorts to his neighbors and then calling in on his neighbors that they were hiring escorts.
Yeah, which is outrageous if you think about it. An outrageous thing to do to your neighbors and stuff like that. I swear to God, if I did that to my neighbor, I'd probably get beat the shit out of in the street.
Right. Who would even think to do that, though? How far would you go to think to do that?
Yeah, it takes a demented mind. But like that's what I'm saying. Like you got this guy who's literally like if you actually looked at this guy in real life, it is literally a guy with his phone screaming into the void about his organization and how he's gonna get everything. It's like something you'd hear from a schizophrenic guy. You know
Right.
what I mean? And people are like, oh my God, he's going to solve the case. That guy has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. He has no office. He has no, like, why would multimillionaires invest in him?
He couldn't
Like,
even get the dates, the age, nothing right. The name, they couldn't even get the name right.
yeah, like, let's be real. No one's going to invest millions of dollars into Nick the Hat. I mean, it's tough to make money. It's tough to make millions and millions of dollars, and no one's going to throw millions and millions of dollars at Nick the Hat.
Who can't even keep his live streams on point, right? Like, thank you so much, 505, for gifting memberships. Welcome, Georgia Peach. Welcome. He, like, during his live, right, he would literally contradict himself based on what the chat was saying. Um, with, like, here's an example, right? Oh, Seth Rogers is cooperating. Then he says anybody can get zadied up and take a polygraph, and you can call that cooperating. So based on what the chat was saying, was going off what Nick was saying. So if the chat started bad mouthing Seth, Nick would throw a little jab at Seth. If the chat was going at Chris and Katie, he would go at Chris and Katie. It was a typical, let me try to play all sides as well as
Yeah,
I can.
and it's working. I mean, his channel was getting less than like what, 600 people watching a video, and now he's getting thousands of people watching his videos and memberships and all that stuff.
And that's
So
why he's going live as much as he is.
yeah, first off, if he was actually a legitimate, like, let's say this was actually,
Did we lose you?
no, I'm just looking at the
Oh.
chat. Someone says this was what the schizophrenics talk about. Yep, beat him. I bet Joe Rogan is. No, Joe Rogan actually and Elon Musk are actual successful individuals that actually created things in their lives. They actually, you can believe this guy doesn't. He literally has nothing.
Right. It's not like, yeah, he has nothing to back up what he's saying. Again, he doesn't even have an office to convince you all about his importance.
I mean, for instance, let's say he actually was trying to create an organization to help search for people, right? Then why did he not create a 501c3? Like when you create a 501c3, the main way that you can make money with a 501c3 is grant writing. You basically you have people that write grants for donations for your organization, and then you build it from there. And then you just basically pay yourself a salary from that organization. You also can turn your merchandise and your YouTube channel into a 501c3 and all that. But why hasn't he done that? Why would multimillionaire guys who are really rich, who understand how to like play around with the tax system, suddenly just throw money at a YouTube channel and just let that and pay extra money that they don't need to pay for?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. You know, doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's no clue. And plus, why would you ever want to be associated with Nick the Hat? You're worth millions and millions of dollars. You're telling me you can have the pick of the litter of many channels. Hell, someone could go up to Ickamel and be like, hey, man, we really like your work here. You're getting almost 10,000 people in your chat. We want you to kind of help spear this project where we kind of do this charity where we try to find missing children. Or you get someone like Grizzly True Crime or someone who's got a following.
And respect him.
Yeah, like you're talking to me, like you're telling me that Ickamel or Grizzly True Crime or Gray Hughes wouldn't be jumping at the chance of being part of an organization like that and getting a salary on top of that, or payments. I mean, come on. But instead they pick Nick the Hat. No, absolutely not. It makes no sense.
What do you think of the fact that, like, up here, and Alabama Mama, you're right. He was referring to Seth when he made the Xanax comment. Yeah, sure, because he's giving the audience what they want. A little bit of dislike for Seth, a little bit of dislike for Katie and Chris, but he made his overall stance clear on how he feels. What do you think for the people that say, well, he's an undercover op?
I think you're overthinking things.
Mm-hmm.
Humans have a way of making connections in their heads about all these things, and I honestly think like you're giving this guy way too much credit. First off, what's the plan? Like, okay, so he's going to pretend to work with Seth so that he can and make it look like he's going to he thinks he's innocent. He's going to bring in Dog, and Dog's going to bust through the secret lair where Seth's hiding Sebastian and rescue him out of the house. Like, that's what people are thinking?
Right.
While Nick the Hat is distracting him like a clown. Hey, look over here, guys. Don't look at a dog, the bounty hunter. He's about to rescue Sebastian from Seth's house. I mean, like, are we like, that makes no sense.
It's too real. It's a fantasy. It's we've gone so far that we're going down this rabbit hole of hiring this moron, quite frankly, that's on parole to work as a I believe Nick may be like a little local snitch. I'll give that. But enough to work with the FBI. Again, somebody who works with the FBI and is well respected in the States and all. I pointed out to you all the other day. Look what Nick did. When Danilo Cavalcante dried up, which is where he was getting all his attention, he then started agitating the government. Now he's going to go after the state police. They didn't do this correctly. And he also wants to go after Longwood Gardens, a very well respected, historical place here, because he wanted to keep the attention going. Somebody who's working with police and FBI, they don't do that. They don't disrespect the police.
Yeah, I mean, like when I hear him saying I work with the feds, I immediately think, I think of something else. You know, like I'm not going to say the S word because that could be defamation, but I have a very sneaking suspicion when he says he works with the FBI closely. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, make sure you don't do anything around this guy. Let's just say you might end up being reported by someone. I don't know, but
Right. No, I get that show. I don't think she's on any side at all. I'm just speaking from my perspective. Yeah, an informant perhaps, something like that. But again, look at his history. He's even right now, like you're telling me that this guy is working with TBI and LE and FBI, yet he's insulting Sumner County and trying to make this a constitutional rights for Betty thing. Like, watch out, dog. You might be next. Well, wait, I thought you guys already spoke to everybody. Make sure you're not stepping on any toes.
yeah, but you know he's full of shit. Like, let's
Right.
be real. I mean, just like Tony Mathis is this great PR guy. All these people are just LARPing at this point. You got
Yeah.
Tony Mathis LARPing as a PR guy. You got, this Nick the Hat LARPing as this, I'm not even sure what he's trying to LARP out as
Just a
search
very important undercover agent, I think.
undercover agent with like a secret cabal of people that have a secret facility that takes people to give them truth serum, and he's worth millions, and he's working with the CIA and the FBI, and he's just on this case, man. He's on this case. He'll figure it out. You got Dog, who said, honestly, he was a bounty hunter. But he's 71 years old, guys. He's not going to be running the trails. I mean, that's one thing I agree with. Like Jay, he's not going to be running the trails looking. The best he's going to do, and the best he could do is maybe use his fame to get people to show up for a grid search for free. I
Right.
mean, that's the best thing he can do, to be honest with you. He doesn't have anything else he can do.
I agree. He can't do any. I mean, the guy needs permission to leave the state.
You know,
There's too many glory-seeking fantasy space cadets. Well, that's what I think it is. I think his arrogance is what me personally. I would never believe the FBI would hire somebody that just rambles the way he does. I think it's just silly. I think it's a silly thought. I wish it was the truth. I wish that this was going to be like the big answers and all, but I really do believe they're selling a pipe dream. Again, I don't even know how much Dog is associated with Nick. Like when Dog's doing interviews or in, the remember the news nations were going to light up. All the news stations, not nations, stations were going to light up. We got a Daily Mail article, B Tim, and a TMZ article.
yeah,
You
and
know what that
also,
means? They
yeah,
sold the story. They sold the story to TMZ and to Daily Mail.
yeah, and also they went on News Nation, which is the shittier version of Court TV.
And they got it for a 5 minute segment where Seth was called Sean.
Yeah, and also apparently, I think they cut that segment off. Sure,
Do you?
because because the guy started accusing Katie of being a kidnapper.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
TMC does
that's
pay. TMC pays.
yeah, they pay a
TMC,
lot of money.
yeah, they'll pay. They'll pay for stories. Absolutely, they pay. And we all know Daily Mail pays as well.
I don't
I'm
know if
not.
Daily Mail pays. I think they copy stories. I think they copy other people's stories and then they put up as their own. I
I
personally,
remember when covering some stories that Daily Mail, for example, oh gosh, what was that story? And they sold it to Daily Mail. Cash Gernon.
okay,
Yeah. The woman in Cash Gernon's case, the one that was responsible for him in the home, she sold a story to Daily Mail. Now, I'm not saying they definitely paid, but I do know they are the type of websites that do pay. They're gossip tabloids. They're not reputable, And like I said, if Nick is so prominent, why he claims he's everywhere? Where are you, Nick? Nobody's even ever heard of this company that you claim to be renowned amongst the elite. Your website was just created. Like B
yeah,
Tim said, they're not even licensed. I mean, what is going on?
Yeah, well, like you don't have an office, you don't have a charity, because like why would people throw like a businessman's not going to throw money and then have to pay taxes for that money. Like you know what I mean? Like
Right.
not get a tax deduction. You know what I mean? Like that's the main crux of why you would probably want to create a 501c3 is if let's say you're trying to create an organization that helps search and help organize searches, you want to give an incentive for the people to donate to you. So what is in it for the multimillionaires? Like if you're a multi-million, you're looking at investments. You're saying, well, do I get like a percentage back? How high risk is this investment? You know, that type of thing. So it
Yeah,
doesn't
and
make
and
sense.
and no, it doesn't. And like Sane Outlaw said, he got details incorrect, but then would be talking and knew a lot about what transpired online. Right. And he's the one saying he's not going to be paying attention to the drama, strictly about Sebastian. But I have not heard him go live yet and not talk about drama.
Yeah, I have not seen him go live without being in a park,
Right. Walking around in circles.
working around in circles in a park. I mean, think how crazy that is. Like you have a guy who's claiming that he's got this cabal of people, but yet he's in the
The
middle of a
elite.
park.
The
The
elite are
elite.
backing him up.
Yeah, I don't think he knows what the elite is. I mean, the elite don't exactly show their face around here. Like the elites are the people that pay for your president of the United States and donate to him. You know, they say here's you know, 40 million dollars a month. Here, and that's chump change for them. You
Right.
know, like that's like whatever. That's the elite. The elite are not people that have like are backing Nick the Hat. Let's just say that much. They got bigger fish to fry. Let's just say that much.
Right. And like I said, Dawn's asking what's the name of his company. Well, it was At Night Media. And now what did they change it to? At Night
I think World or something was.
World. And then they're saying, now it's no longer like a media thing, but they're private. They could be hired for $500,000 basically is what they're claiming now. But a
I
few years
mean,
ago, when Nick was looking at charges, the company was named a whole different name. They changed the name, but they keep the players because in his arrest videos, he was wearing a Warner Brothers hat, which he claims to still be in connection with.
yeah, but you know what? They can ask for anything they want. I mean, you can ask for $10 million to hire you to be an expert. Doesn't mean
One
anyone's
world,
going to give you $10 million for you to be an expert. You know what I mean? I can ask for any amount of money.
right?
Doesn't mean we're in a capitalist society. You know, you can ask for whatever you like. Doesn't mean someone's going to give you the money. Who's going to pay Nick the Hat $500,000?
All right. I still find it hysterical that JLR did the "Not Like Us" song, and then
Not
in
like
it
us.
when he says run, 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 run for your life, he's referencing no other than Bill Cosby. And Bill Cosby's tied into allegedly this at media group. I just find that just, I don't know, a little hysterical. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
this guy's talking about coming out. I know people are like, you guys are paying too much attention to the truth serum part. No, I think that is a very big part. I think it's like crucial that these people came out and said they're going to give people truth serum, and they represented. Well, the one attorney that's listed on the website was the spokesman for Bill Cosby. Hey, 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 run for your life. Hey, hey, hey.
I mean, that
Oh
says a
man.
lot. I mean, you got a guy who is talking about truth serum, talking about all this stuff, the Illuminati. Kind of, I come backed by the Illuminati. In my opinion, like this, when someone says I'm backed by like the elites and stuff like that, so it's like you're one step away from saying I'm backed by the Illuminati. I'm in this situation, and it's
JFK.
JFK. You know, I have like this. Like I got someone from the JFK Commission. I'm like, so that means like, let's say we give him like that guy was like 30 at the time, right? 30, 35 years old, and we do the math. What is that? 40. That would be he would be almost 110 years old,
Right.
111 years old. So I mean, unless he's a vampire, or then I don't think he's actually if he has a 110-year-old man running around. But who knows?
There
Maybe
it is. Yeah. One of the owners is the publicist, right? And then the other guy, right, is like 110 and they're on their team. I do want to I asked if I if, mm. So there are people that are thinking maybe the Proudfoots are involved with this Nick the Hat, like it's all like a secret thing. No. No. It's not the case. I don't think it's anything bigger. So spiritual being says, I'm wondering if any of this could hinder the investigation or the arrest of those responsible. Is there an ulterior motive here from Seth's team, or does he have people in his ear? For me, I think it's just clout chasers leeching on. I don't think. What do you think, B Tim? I don't know.
I think you got the lowest like the lowest group of people clinging on so they can get famous. You have Tony Mathis, who is a guy and who has always been kind of a guy who's kind of been did all these bankruptcies. And now he's trying to get clout from attaching himself to a father of a missing child. You got all these people are just basically irrelevant people clinging for fame. Every single one of them. Nick the Hat, the dog, the fake dog lady. You got Tony Mathis. You got the 2 a.m. TikTok girls. I mean, like every single one of them had the ulterior motive of using this to launch their own personal being famous online. And I think it's just like when you got blood in the water and the sharks come.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. Got blood in the water and the sharks have come and they have started feeding frenzy right now.
I actually have a little video on that. But that's exactly what it is, in my opinion. Is it's nothing more than that. I think it's a pipe dream being sold. Did you see that the lab made a comment?
Yeah, I've seen that, and
I think that was good.
I think it's good, but like you got to be like, honestly, you got people that are following you. You have a large platform. You got to warn these people, like, hey, don't trust this motherfucker, because you know
Right.
what, this man. If you truly think this man is just there for opportunistic, he doesn't even want to repeat. He's just there to make money and just lie to all these people and try to bamboozle them. You have an obligation to tell your followers, let's say, hey, don't trust this motherfucker at
Right.
all.
Right. And I'm glad he did because, we all know the lab supports Seth Rogers, or last we heard, he does have compassion for Seth so he has an audience to reach that, Seth Rogers supporters aren't watching me. They're not, you know what I mean? And I'm glad that he spoke up because there's a lot of people, in my opinion, that are remaining quiet on the belief that these people are working for Seth. So they're not going to give their true opinion because they don't want to insult or hurt Seth. So I'm happy that the lab did speak up. I think it is
Well,
like you said, it's almost like a duty we have to forewarn.
yeah. Well, I mean, like, you might care about someone. Sometimes you have to tell them the truth. Like you have a kid, son, you have a kid. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure, there's times where you have to tell your kid no, or you have to tell them the truth. Like, you
You
can't
have to
just tell
tell
them like,
them, right, Santa's not real.
yeah, Santa's not, well, not now. Hopefully you'll wait until she's like 15 or something, or like 12 or something. But like,
Well, they are. He's 12, and
okay.
I had to tell him Santa's not real.
So, but like, but that's the thing. Like, you have to tell the true reality, and everyone might, and that's the problem. It's like, maybe people have just been like too not telling Seth the truth. Like a real friend tells you reality, and
Right.
that's the truth. You're gonna get shit now for telling your kid that Santa's not real when he was like 12 years old now.
Well, so he had an idea. So I know, but SF is a private investigator. I wrote that wrong. No, so he came to me like, I know it's not, I know he's not. Just tell me the truth. So I told him the truth. He was at the age where he knew it, but he still, others around him were saying it. He felt fooled. There's when they come to you like that, you have to just
exposed, telling kids about
just cruel.
It's just terrible person. That'll be the next up video.
Well, can I redeem myself by saying it was just, I told him it's the spirit. Santa is the spirit of the season. It's a spiritual thing. You just believe. Yeah, I did all of that. But yeah, he was like, he knew. I mean, come on, he knew.
Yeah.
Good morning, He-Man. Good morning, Crystal. People have romanticized this entire situation. They did. I've even heard a story like they're going to make Seth fall in love with Betty. And I'm like, Lord, bless it be.
For legal and civil reasons, I'm not going to comment on that.
That is understandable.
I don't want to get you in trouble. I saw there was like Molly did a 6 a.m. live on the Kool-Aid channel, and she did that, with that thing with her mouth, with her hand about Betty. And I had to say, like, yep, I have no opinions on that as well, on Kathy P's as well. I was just basically avoiding that. If Molly wants to get sued, let her.
Right. That's the other thing. All right. So everybody keeps talking about, well, why would they offer up their own reward? Well, think about it logically. Okay. They come in after the FBI offers this reward. We hear them all saying, Nick, dog, no matter how much money you have, that's a lot of money. They then offer their own reward. They're now claiming it's up to 100K, but it's not. It's still 50K by the FBI. It's the only one we're recognizing. But they're the ones that are claiming they're going to solve this case, B. Tim. So who's getting the reward?
Yeah,
They're
but
not going to pony it up. They're getting it.
I mean, I get, like you. The thing is like they could say that they're offering $50,000, but how is someone going to collect it from them? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Betty
that's
still can't get her 400.
yeah. Like this is a guy. I don't know what he does for a living. Like how
He
do you
doesn't.
live?
He doesn't do anything.
Like, is this like, are you just like kind of like a hype man or like, a confidence man where you're selling courses or what the hell are you doing? So I don't know how this guy's like living, to be honest with you. So how does he have 25 G's? Like, most Americans don't have $1,000 in an emergency fund,
I
let
know.
alone, you know what I mean? You're talking about like probably 80% to 90% of Americans that live paid like probably paycheck to paycheck. And this guy's got to pull out 25 G's to throw away at like, I doubt that.
Right, and he's not and again, Dog's not the one that offered that up. He offered that. Dog retweeted it. That was their entrance into this. If people, they actually did. It was pretty brilliant what they did, beats him. You got to admit that. So you have Nick starts off by sharing JLR and giving him credit. JLR then in response brings up Nick, right? Now Nick is now recognized through JLR's audience. Rather, they saw him reshare and at JLR and thank him for his hard work, where he also kissed the ass of JLR's audience. But then JLR recognized him. Then Nick comes out and he does, I'm offering 25K. So now Dog the Bounty Hunter retweets that. And now the internet's on fire talking about these two buffoons. Like they're going to, well, at least one buffoon, not Dog, but like they're going to solve everything. It was, and then what happens next? He starts going live several times.
Well, I just know one thing. Dog, your book better be fucking good. I paid $20 for your goddamn book, your hardcover book. I'm getting it tonight. I will be reading that book. It's very small. It's only 269 pages. How do you write out 269 pages about your life? It's beyond me. But anyway,
I'm very curious what's in that book.
it's probably going to be a lot of I went through hard times, his life. I probably wasted $20.
Probably. He appreciates that.
He appreciates the $20 to help to pay the IRS bill.
Unbelievable. Is this going to turn into a pissing match between Nick and JLR? Because, no, because JLR won't do the drama. So it's not going to turn into anything. But there are people that are questioning JLR's intent. Was JLR, is he really mad at Seth Rogers? Is he pretending to now back the Proudfoots so he can get information from people close to the Proudfoots, if not them themselves? I don't know.
I think personally, he's with Magnolia. Magnolia's always been like looking at Seth very weirdly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like you have these two sides where Mr. JLR, let's just say Mr. JLR, is very much in the opinion that Katie has some information. But the problem is that Seth has been doing all these things that kind of make people look at him like 3-4 times every single time. And now it's getting to the point where he can't ignore it. Like no one can ignore it at this point. You know what I mean? Like it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, so you're staging, pretending that you're hurt. Your kid goes missing on the anniversary of your divorce. You're constantly talking about your wife and how much you dislike her and you really don't like her. Your only real fond memories of the child is like, years ago. You don't really talk about recent days. And the only thing recent you talk about is how the kid, cooked for himself, made coffee, went out, he played video games all by himself and stuff like that. It's just a lot of things like that. This is the group night.
So this right here, Hung was editor in chief when I met him last year during the escaped convict, Daniela Cavalcante, but people were telling me to check this out. YouTube Inspector just wrote it. Creators pulled up this guy's company site, which names his sidekick as the rich CEO from the Silicon Valley of China. So they're saying that Hung right here is the rich CEO from the Silicon Valley. Also, to correct everybody, it was Nick that drove. Hung didn't drive Nick around. I'm telling you, they did have, I was impressed by the equipment they had. They had fancy equipment. They had like spotlights and cameras and all that. And then they had a case of water and a case of beer. And that was their manhunt.
Yeah. Well, it paid
Yeah.
off a little bit for them during that situation. They got a lot of views for that. The
Yeah.
Cavalcantes do.
Yeah.
Like their top video, which is they were so lazy. That's another thing. It's like I'm surprised that it's like they were so lazy they didn't even make a new thumbnail for that video that had like 120,000 views. They just
Hmm.
had it like you just see a picture of a cornfield.
Yeah, they stood at the cornfield for hours.
The cornfield.
They did.
Imagine if like Cavalcante actually walked out of the cornfield and actually like that. I
It
always
was
laugh at
crazy.
that. Yeah, it was
And
crazy.
what's ironic about it is the fact that he now comes back and like sells that like he had this big important role during it. And yeah, I go as far to say like the important role they had was keeping the community up to date where where local news won it. But other than that, he really didn't do anything other than film. I mean, it's not like he did anything. He's making it like he said the other day, and if we need to, we'll bring in everything that we brought in to capture Danilo Cavalcante from the dogs and this. He had nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like that tells you how he is. He will talk like how more important he is than everyone else.
Right. That's what's bothersome. I think his arrogance is so off-putting. Nick was saying both biological parents should be able to search together, leaving out Chris. Yeah, he has a strong dislike for Chris. Calling Chris a side piece. They've been married 8 years, or together at least 8 years. I'm not sure how long married, but side piece. And I understand why Chris and Katie won't come out and talk, but I wish they would. I really wish they would. It would put a lot of the rumors, I think, it put a lot of rumor speculation to rest. But the fact is, like stated, it doesn't matter what they say. People find a way to twist it, and that's. I mean, look how people twisted a phone call for fuck's
Yeah.
sake.
I have
You
a
know,
question for you. I have a cooking question for you.
yeah.
What do you do if you have a grease fire on your stove? Do you throw water at the grease fire?
No, I learned that the hard way. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, you don't. You actually
Relive
in
my
some
trauma.
yeah, well, I'm sorry, but like you usually put something over it, you give it no air, right? You stop
Right.
giving
You
it
try
air.
to put a tail over it, but you really
Yeah,
want to get your, yeah.
so I use that scenario because
Good morning.
if they went out here and stated, "Hey, more interviews," that's like throwing water at a grease fire.
You're
But
right.
how you stop the fire from burning is
Oh,
you stop with air.
people are saying you can also use baking soda and salt. I didn't know that.
Yeah, also oil. Some people that use a wok, they throw like cooled oil at it and actually puts the fire out as well. More
Yeah.
oil.
So I bought like one of these little indoor little grill things. You know what I mean? Like you plug it in, it's supposed to like mimic a grill. So I brought that and I made hamburgers. And then
Mhm.
my daughter's like, "Oh, I want bacon." So I tried cooking bacon on this grill thing. You can't do that because the grease was hitting the fake fire thing. Next thing you know, the thing's in fire. It's very, very scary thing that took place there. But yeah, no, you don't. You definitely,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
use
you
that
smother it.
scenario. And I
That
use that scenario because people, you're thinking that them coming out is like the water. It's gonna,
same.
water takes out fire, but it actually makes it far, far worse. And the best thing is not to say anything and let
You're
it
right.
just have no air. And it's working because more people are talking about Seth. Seth's the one that's throwing the water on the grease fire, and look
That's
what's
true.
happening to him. You know.
That's true. Yeah, because, yep, absolutely agree. People will take any little thing that is given. Even when it comes to Seth, I would recommend he doesn't speak. But unfortunately, what did you think of hearing this? Did you hear? I don't know if you heard it, beats him. So allegedly, apparently, um, Nick is claiming that during the News Nation interview, that they had 4 body analyst specialists on standby, and that's why Katie and Kristen didn't show up for the News Nation interview.
I think he's full of shit.
Mhm.
Like,
Like
I,
where were they watching through their phones? Like, what do you mean you had 4?
I mean, like, I think he's just so full of shit. He does it works for some people, but like for people that deal with people that are like actual people with money, it's just ridiculous to hear. Because what are you going to pay them in fucking peanuts? I mean, these are if you actually had like a CIA body expert or someone who was a retired CIA or something like that body expert, you're probably going to have to pay them $250 an hour. So you're gonna pay like almost what $1,000 to $2,000, $3,000 to just basically have these guys just sit around and stare at a screen. for no
Right. And
reason.
there's people on YouTube that do that already. The behavioral panel. What I'm saying, SS, is Nick claims that during the News Nation, the reason Chris and Katie didn't go is because they had body, how do you say that? Oh, I'm getting jumbled up now. Basically, they had a behavioral analyst. Behavioral analysts were watching. They had 4 behavioral analysts that were going to watch their body and their movements and behaviors, and that's why they didn't show up. And I'm like, it's not why they didn't show up. It's ridiculous.
No, but it's the same thing. It's a Nancy Grace 2.0. You know what I
Right.
mean? But they just want to throw. They want that grease fire to grow for Chris and Katie because they know that everything Seth has done has made things worse. I mean, think about it. Like 6 months ago, how much like you couldn't say one negative thing about Seth without like everyone going after you and
I
acting like
know.
he was like the savior. But like now they realize there's people realizing like, oh shit, it's the same thing with a lot of other cases. You know, like for instance, like I mean, any other case where the majority of the media, the majority of people were tricked, and now they're realizing like they all been tricked by this guy. I mean, his whole act of him in pain has been an act. He's been pretending the entire time. Oh, my shoulder, my back hurts, all that stuff. That's been an act.
Well, what blows my mind about those type of things is like, well, people keep talking about, well, what if somebody carries Sebastian out in a bag and this and that, which I hate when that is stated. But, why was somebody's shoulder injury that was referenced back in their DVRO papers? Why would that suddenly be so agitated that they suddenly need surgery on it? I mean, we could also go down that route too, right? Or the whole thing, who in Chris Proudfoot's family is connected to LE? Seth Rogers is self-announced LE. Like,
Well, you
you
know
don't get
what?
any closer of a connect than that if connections matter.
Yeah. I mean, like the surgery, I'm not gonna see. Like the problem with me and with Seth is I don't believe a lot of what he says. So unless I see like actual medical records, I don't believe him. I'm sorry.
Well, I was told that during his surgery, from the tip line, they told me during his surgery, that he woke up in the middle of it because he was so stressed out. He's barely been sleeping. He woke up in the middle of it, and they had to have 2 big, strong men lay on top of Seth to keep him still.
Oh yeah, because he's just such a powerful man.
Yeah.
Powerful man. You need 2 strong men to keep him down.
And
I'm
they already doubled the medicine to make him sleep, and it still wasn't enough to keep Seth asleep because he's just so distraught. I
yeah.
have it. I swear to God, they said it. I have it. I have
Yeah,
it. They said it.
and that's the problem. It's like I don't believe you. And like if you did have surgery, it probably was arthroscopic. It probably was like for degenerative, like where he basically because of his over time it just went bad over time. But
Yeah.
like none of his movements show me that he has major back or shoulder injuries. Like I've watched, I'm telling you, I'm not going to tell you what my job is, but I watch a lot of people with back and arm injuries, and they don't move around like he does. You know what I mean? I'm telling you.
Well,
When
and, like, shortly after the surgery, this lady also told me, like, "Take a look at his neck. You'll see all this, all the staples and stitches and all that." Shortly after his surgery, he was photo opping in that boat with the sonar.
yeah, he's moving too well for someone who's had major surgery. I'm
I
telling you.
agree. That's how I felt.
And whatever, and I for that lady that jumped on Queen Bee's show 2 days ago talked about how she was there, and it was all like he would just play it up for the cameras, and when the cameras weren't working,
Informative.
he was just like walking normally.
Eli's mama, is that Jax from Sons of Anarchy in your photo?
It looks
Oh my
like it.
goodness. You lucky, lucky gal. They never addressed on panel this dog's tip line replaced Seth's. No, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I think I is the FBI okay with somebody else coming in with tip lines?
I don't know. I just think it confuses people. I mean,
God,
like I
he's so
think it.
hot.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ, that degenerated quickly. Just a picture.
So good looking. Okay.
Would you like a drink of like water?
I don't mind if I do.
you sound very thirsty at this
Oh my
particular point.
goodness.
Jesus
Who could it
Christ.
be when it comes to him? Whoo, golly.
Yeah.
Back on topic, my father had a similar surgery. He was outpatient while he worked. He was out of work for 6 weeks. Yeah. Okay, well that makes sense. But then again, go back to the thought of it. Are they going to hire somebody with his type of injuries, his type of limit, movement to be a security guard at a prison or correction officer? I'm sorry. Are they going to do that? I don't know. I thought there was fitness tests you have to pass, and I don't know. I don't
Yeah, you're
know.
not going to be working in a fucking prison where you can't even, you're barely able to. I mean, like, I'd be shocked if he'd be working in a prison and it's like if he had no back injury in his current shape, to be honest with you, because I would think that's a liability. Honestly, you have some people there that are just like, they grab a guard and you got to jump in there and you got to
Right.
wrestle with this guy. You know what I mean? Like, and these guys in prison, all they have time is to work out. Like, that's
Right.
pretty much it. Like, work out and watch the guards for any sort of fuck up they're gonna make.
That's why I believe that he was like a parking guard. Like when you go to visit somebody in jail, sadly enough, when you go to visit somebody in jail, there are like people that check you into the parking lot, right? So you have to show your address, I mean your ID, you have to show your registration. Like you have to be, and then so he could be many things. It doesn't necessarily mean he actually overseen, but
Yeah,
he did act like he did, because remember he said, "I like to talk to them like I give people a chance. If they lie to me, then I know they lied to me." Like he acted like he was cordial with the prisoners.
yeah, but like, you know what? I mean, like, I think that's BS as well. I'm personally
Yeah.
thinking that he probably was like the guy who checks under, like they have the mirror under the car to see if anyone's
Yeah,
under
any
the car.
contraband's coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm thinking he was like more like that, like the guy that's outside the prison watching the garage or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see him like actually in the prison talking
They
with these
would, yeah.
inmates because like I think like an inmate would easily manipulate him to such an easy degree. Like some of these guys in prison, like they look for weakness, and there's a lot of weakness that you can exploit for Mr. Seth Rogers. We should just make up what we don't know, right, Tim? I don't know.
I don't
I don't
know
know what you
either.
mean.
We should just make out what we don't know, right? No, we're just talking it out. Nobody's making up anything. I think, he made up that he was a deputy sheriff.
Well, the
When
problem is he gives information that makes no sense.
Right.
Um, like and I don't. There's nothing I like for instance, like he says he worked there 13-hour shift, and there's a video. Well, that video has never been produced, never been. I mean, never. I don't think the cops have ever confirmed the video actually
I don't
existed.
think they ever confirmed any of their alibis. They just simply said they're all cooperating.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And the fact is like he told Terry Lane, because I'm kind of believing that he might have told Terry Lane that he had a break. I don't know if he told Terry, like, I don't believe that they would give him a 2 hour break. That would be kind of crazy. But I think
Right.
he probably had like a lunch break, obviously, off the cameras or something like that. But there's certain things that just don't make sense with his statements. You know what I mean? Like,
I was talking to somebody last night. Do you remember Athena Strand?
yes,
What a sad story that was. And when you looked at everything, when it first came out that there was a missing little girl, for those who don't remember, Athena Stern was a beautiful little blonde head little girl who, I believe it was in like November, it was close to Christmas time.
November
She
30th, like November, I think 30th.
Yes. Yes, thank you. She kind of just there was an Amber Alert for her. And then we started hearing backgrounds, and we heard that she got in an argument with her stepmother who sent her to go to the trailer in the back of the house, and la di da. And it was just this whole thing. And everybody immediately speculated that it had to be the stepmother. She treated the little girl like crap, blah, blah, blah. Here it was a FedEx. It was a
Yeah,
FedEx guy who accidentally hit her. She was fine. She was no injury. He put her in a van and he freaked out and then he took her life.
yeah. I mean, there's some I mean, at the time I mean, did they ever? I never really followed, but they did find out if it was other reasons why he tried to take her into the van.
He said that he was basically they said he was just afraid. He was afraid of that she was going to tell her father. He did it out of fear.
Yeah, I don't know. That guy, I'm not sure, but like what his motivations were, to be honest with you. But that happens a lot. I mean, think about it. That happens a lot. Like you got these FedEx people that come around, and they're just everyone kind of ignores them these days. It's not a big deal anymore, and The only reason why they caught him was because the inside of the FedEx trucks or whatever had, like a camera, right?
Hmm.
And that's how they found out about him.
And it was crazy because nobody suspected, nobody. You would never think that. You would never think that. So
Yeah,
it actually reads that he has autism, that he's in solitary confinement, and he's actually facing the death penalty for what he did. And here's her beautiful little face, this beautiful baby girl. It was yeah. So on November 30th is when they were searching for. It was December 2nd. Hours after 72 hours after she went missing, police recovered her body from a creek,
yeah.
and they arrested Horner. He said he dropped off a package at her home, accidentally hit her with his truck. He then abducted the little girl, took her life, and then dumped her body in fear of what would happen to him. And when he first hit her with the truck, she was fine. My whole purpose being like it looks without a doubt that it would be her stepmother. There was this, filling in the story and everything. And here it was some random stranger nobody even suspected.
Yeah, but the problem is a lot of people will immediately blame the parents because it's out of ignorance. It's out of not understanding that there's more to a case than meets the eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got a situation where a lot of things could happen. I mean, there's people that suspect that's the same thing that happened with Summer, where like someone just showed up somehow, just
Yeah.
randomly, and just grabbed her, and that's why no one ever, because it was just a random act. There was no plan. It was just like that. Some
Right.
people believe that. Some people, and there's been other cases like that too. I mean, so, but to immediately blame parents without all the facts of a case is ignorant because it's not actual true crime. It's not actually sleuthing. It's just basically you're using your own bias, and that's it.
Absolutely.
You know, it's kind of sad though that they're immediately. I mean, they did that. Betty did the same thing with that. Florida. Remember, like she was like, "Oh, these stickers, these stickers." They were about to blame the father. They were like amping up to blame the father. Betty was on Dolly's show, and she was planning on blaming the father for that kid that went missing in Florida.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, you remember like when like Betty was like talked about how the stickers and she was searching through Florida and she was like, "Oh, this kid is dead. Oh, this kid is like dead and deceased." And she only did like 20 minutes of searching, and it turned out that the kid was found by like another
Oh,
searcher.
that's right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, the boy. Yeah, and basically, they were about to blame the father as well. She was amping up to blame the father. They were going. JLR was going in there as well, I think.
And then they
Uh,
found, yep, I remember that now. Yeah, she searched for 17 minutes. Little JJ, thank you. Good
yeah,
morning,
like
Oki. Mm-hmm. That's how easy it is, though. That like it's just it's actually sad because there's many times where we automatically blame parents, and then it's something as uh, I don't want to say as simple, but
JJ
there's
Rowland. Yeah, like, and she basically was like she did 3 hour live there. She was standing in front of there. She was playing like it was crazy, and she was going at the father.
yep.
You could still on her channel too.
She was almost not upset, but not thrilled. JJ was found safe. Oh, so pathetic.
Yeah, like you could go to her live actually. Let me see if I can find. I think people clipped her.
What so horrible.
I think she wanted to find the kid to get her like really famous.
Right.
But
Or
like, yeah.
to have a big, juicy story to drag out.
Hmm.
Hello, just Samantha.
Good morning, Granny and B Tim.
Mm.
What's up? I hate you, Justin, out there for last night. By the way.
That means B Tim likes you.
No,
Let me
I
tell you,
don't.
he loves
Like
you.
I was like, I was like so happy when that lady. I was like, okay, she told her story. We're done. We're done. We're moving on. And you're like, I have one more question. I sat there. I was like, oh my fucking god, just
I know I
Samantha.
felt bad. I'm sorry.
I was like, you can hear
Uh,
like the life energy draining from me from that situation. Because it's like I know she was being like she was telling us the story, but I just like I'm like, okay, you repeated this like 3 times. 3 times. Do you have anything
yeah,
new
I
to say?
came in at the tail end, so I apologize. But what I came up here to talk about is Chris and Katie. Like I seriously really am concerned about them and their safety. They already have nutcase Betty and these restraining orders, and people sending like their photos and going to the campground. And now you have dog going on, basically national TV accusing them. Like basically, he said he didn't, you know what I mean? The domestic dispute and thinks that they were stashed away. I took that as him blaming Chris and Katie. And it's really scary. Like they're already dealing with their child's missing. I can't imagine like the emotional stress and the like having to deal with that every day. Never mind the spotlight on you of people thinking that you're actually guilty. Like I'm concerned for them. What do you guys think?
I'm concerned for them as well. I think there's a lot of media pressure from these people that are just basically forcing more new people to come at them for no good reason, to be honest with you, because there's no evidence pointing to guilt or anything. By the way, Granny, I put the True Crime
I just
video,
seen that.
and
Yeah,
it's like
thank
three.
you.
That shows the JJ Rowland thing, and it's 3 minutes and 50 seconds, so it's not long. Just in case if you want to play it later on, just heads up. Um,
Yeah, Remy, they're not allowed to, their phones are supposed to go in like a locker. Danilo Cavalcante escaped because the guard that was watching the cameras was on his cell phone. So they're not supposed to have phones while inside the jail or prison because they're not supposed to be distracted. So it does make sense that Steph said, when he got off work, he seen his phone, he saw the 911 text, like all of that does make sense. Yeah, just Samantha, it is scary because that's what I said the other day when people are like, well, no, what if they're working for the Proudfoots and this is all a plan and everything? It's a dangerous plan because you got to remember in these situations, it's not just what, maybe Dog or Nick or Betty are capable of, it's the audience that they're inciting the hate to. What are those people capable of? You don't know what their reach is. So it's not always just the person speaking, it's also their audience. It has to be scary.
Yeah, and then what's going to happen if this Nick goes live and he says, if he can leave the state, that is, or that like
Right,
him and Dog go and try and talk and approach Chris and Katie, which we already know Chris is like defensive and protective of Katie, which I don't blame him, as any good man would do that. And then what are they going to put out there to the media and run with? They're not cooperating. They don't want to talk to us. So what are they hiding? Well, no, asshole. If you went on TV and basically said that I did something to my son, I don't think I would want to talk to you either.
right. Well,
And then
and
that
who
tells
who
us that, like, he probably hasn't even spoken to them yet. If he is already thinking that they're guilty, he's going off of what Seth is telling them. It's just another clown added to the Seth and Tony show.
right. Well, and the fact is, who do these people think they are to demand that the Proudfoots even speak to them? I mean, put yourselves in their shoes, even in Seth's shoes. What, because it's Dog, the bounty hunter, you think I have to
well,
hand
I
my
mean,
phones over to you?
obviously he didn't know who Molly Golightly was.
Well, not according to her.
She's a famous. What do you call someone who's not even a D-list celebrity? F-list celebrity?
Yeah, has been
Z
one
a
hit
Z
wonder.
a Z, not even a has been. And a has been is like a boogie.
Somebody who's been at one point, you're right.
Yeah, like you have to be something. Like Boogie
You
was
guys
something.
want to you guys want to hear a funny true story I haven't shared yet? All right. So one of I've said before that a subscriber to my channel I became really good friends with is involved, in the what would you call it? In the like horror world. Like her partner is a very popular and famous horror actor. So she's always at these events, right? Like the horror cons, the monster manias, all the things, which is why me and the kids always get invited to go. So she was at one of these events and she's also popular herself. And she was at one of these events and she calls me, she goes, bitch, is this Molly? And I'm like, I don't know, is it Molly? She sends me a picture. I'm like, that's Molly. So she goes up to her and she says, are you Molly Golightly? And of course, Molly goes, yeah, all that. Molly comes back and tells everybody how the person wanted a photo with her. And so they were all these things and made herself out to be so important at this event that she actually paid so much money for and wasn't really special there.
Oh
Like
my
she
God.
swapped the whole story to be like, and it was funny because it was as simple as, are you Molly Golightly? So, yeah, I just found that to be funny. Yeah. We knew that would happen too. I'm like, I wonder if she's going to come back and act like she was such a big deal there. But she was, because that Karate Kid guy did try to kiss her. All that's true. You know what I mean? Like, that was all true. But it was funny that she, yeah, like upped the interaction when it
I
was.
wonder what she thinks of. Molly thinks that BHB is a world famous YouTuber.
Oh
I wonder what
boy,
she'd respond to
world
that.
famous, world famous. There are tons of
I
child accused and stuff too. That's the only problem. There's no evidence supporting either being accused. Yeah, I think for the most part, all three of us, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've ever stated that Seth is actually guilty of anything
no, I
uh,
haven't. I think
other than
it's,
being a jerk, in my opinion.
but you know what? It's like he doesn't do a fantastic job of like, because I feel like if he just said nothing, it would probably be, it'd be better. But he says things that just make people say, "What? What are you doing?" It's
Right.
like it makes people question his behavior. So, you know, but I don't think Seth has anything to do with the disappearance. I just think his actions and all that stuff and what he said, it makes people question him. And I'm like, whatever, bro.
Right.
And normally
Right.
I would be very much against that, but like he basically perpetrated and still perpetrates the harassment of his ex-wife and goes after her. So whatever. Oh yeah, that she did do a good video on Molly Golightly, Translate Pittsburgh Expo. She did do a good one. I seen it. Agreed.
When I go to these other channels that are like, we'll say pro Seth, I try to see where is it coming from, all of this hatred for Chris and Katie, and why so many people think that they're guilty. And the only thing that they repeat over and over is A, they're not talking enough. I'm glad they're not talking, and why would they? Because everything gets picked apart. And
Well,
then it's either because Katie was the last one to see him. Well,
Right.
yeah, he lived there. Like
Right.
there's no substance that any of these people can say. I don't like the way they're acting. They should be doing more. Well, I mean, you're not them. It's not your kid. You
I
don't know
mean,
how they would act.
it seems like what Seth is his doing more is actually doing worse for the case.
Right. That's what I was
His,
just about to say. Like, just because the Proudfoots aren't out here advertising their searches or asking YouTubers to come film them searching doesn't mean they're not, right? Like, we don't know what they're doing because they're not on camera, unlike
I mean,
Seth.
it could be that they're one of those extra tip lines that he did. A real legitimate tip called up, and because it was picked up by an idiot, that tip never went to the actual police. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like it could have easily been a situation like that. Like sometimes doing more is worse.
right.
Just like overcooking a dish. Like you could cook a dish properly well, and it's but if you overcook a dish, guess what? Now you got slop that you got to throw away because you can't eat it because it's overcooked, like pasta or something like that, or hamburgers that get burnt, and you're like, what the hell is this?
Right.
You know?
Well, and not only that, but their whole like argument that, well, oh, well, Sebastian disappeared from her home. But doesn't it? I mean, we could also say, yeah, but it would, could have happened at Seth's home as well because it was meant to be Seth's weekend, according to Seth himself. And Seth's the one that would leave Sebastian home alone overnight. This could happen to any of us. And for that to be like the immediate guilty factor, I mean, that's it's pretty sad.
And when you have law enforcement come out repeatedly, it's like they need to come out every day on the hour. The parents are fully cooperating. That
Right. And
should
that
tell
does
you
include
they're
Seth.
doing what they're supposed to be doing. Just because
Right.
you don't like it, well, if it's okay with the law enforcement, then that's all that matters.
I agree. I agree. It's not like they're coming out and saying, oh, the family's not cooperating, the parents aren't cooperating. It's the opposite, which means they're doing what is asked of them. I mean, yeah. No, Shelly, nobody's done it all to him. And I think that's why. I mean, he's made statements that people have done things to him, like, oh, all my searchers, are being threatened and this and that. And I will say, us on the internet, we have been harsh towards like those who joined Seth's team, but they're just not good people. It's not our fault.
Yeah, I mean, you got the 2 a.m. girl Chase who came on to a live stream who seemed to be out of her mind drunk. I don't even know if she had a coherent thought in her head. And I mean, like, if you can watch the replay, she was just out of her mind. I don't. She's trying to log on to TikTok while on YouTube. Tony Mathis is trying to live stream from TikTok and record us, You got TikTok Tony, who's basically too busy talking to the 2 a.m. girls to talk about
Mm-hmm.
drama and doxing people while accidentally showing his peen on a live stream with the overlay.
Right.
You got one lady that was supposed to be brought in. Everyone paid for that woman's car, but she's not supposed to be around children because she almost shot someone through a child through a wall. You got Mr. Nick the Hat now. Does anything else
Right.
have to be said about that guy? You got fucking Dog the Bounty Hunter, who he might have been a great bounty hunter. Let's just say he's the greatest bounty hunter that ever lived. But he's 71 years old, and the last person he probably chased for a bounty was probably 20 years ago.
Right.
I mean, let's be real. I mean, this is not the A team. This is like the Z team. This is like the team you get when you lost all hope and you said, fuck it, let's just scrape the bottom of the barrel and see what comes up.
This is like they need community service on their probation team. This is what it is. I mean, seriously.
They're wearing
then
those other orange vests.
Right.
Not the cleanup crew ones, the other ones.
And then you have people, going to point you out, Amanda, because your comment is so bold. Amanda says, hey, Chris and Katie killed Sebastian Seth. I think you should have them charged with the abuse of your son. Well, why hasn't he then, Amanda Kramer? It's like, come on.
I would like that lady to jump out. That'd be interesting conversation.
Yeah, I would love to hear some of these people that truly believe that. I would love to have a conversation with them as to how you get that. Like, how do you feel that?
I mean, I don't think you put the StreamYard link attached to the top.
Oh, maybe that's
you just
it.
dropped it. You just keep on dropping it.
They usually never come up, but we'll try.
I mean, we would love to hear your opinion on this case, Miss Amanda.
And God forbid they ever deal with a tragedy and it gets pointed at you, Amanda, because there's going to be another Amanda who's going to think you're guilty.
That's the truth.
And I will be the most polite person to you, Amanda. I will not. I'll just let you talk and put your point out. Don't worry.
No, if you got to remember, Chris said 90% of what Seth says is a lie. I believe that because we've caught him in a ton of lies, a ton. Stop bad-mouthing people. Chris and Katie's bad parents. You don't know what they did, and I think that's horrible. You would even put that out. You just don't know.
I mean, you act like they're bad parents, but I seen Katie literally for her birthday do that whole event where it was that birthday event. I don't think you quite understand what a real bad parent is. I think you need to actually gain some world perspective about real bad parents. Believe me.
Right.
I could tell you a bad parent. I could tell you the area Sellers case of the adopted foster parents adopted Ari Sellers and her other kids, other siblings. And do you know what that bad parent did? She didn't feed Ari Sellers and put her in a dog cage at night until she eventually, they taped up her mouth and she asphyxiated. She couldn't breathe, and then had the sister remove her from the cage, and then they disposed of her remains. That's a bad parent. That's an evil person. I think you quite don't understand the level of abuse that you're talking about. When I look at Jennifer Soto. Those are bad abuse cases. That's her bad parents. You're talking
Harmony
about
Montgomery.
Yeah. I think
Bernie, nobody cheered on SF saying the same thing. Nobody. You can't put such broad statements of everybody just got pissed off at Amanda for saying that when everybody is cheering SF on for saying that. You've never heard me cheer on SF saying that ever. Ever. They're such bold statements. Everyone wants to put Dog down, but you do realize he has a team, which includes his sons and others. Why isn't anyone being open to possibility of what could come? Then negative. I'm open to what Dog can bring. I'm not open to what his, supposed partner over there, Nick the Cap, is adding. Amanda claims she has a lot of proof, so I'm curious to see Amanda's proof.
Well, we'll welcome it. The thing is with Dog is the only thing he really has the power of is press. He could basically use his, his fame that he had from his show a while ago to be like, hey guys, come over here. We're going to do a grid search, volunteer. That's it. I don't believe he's going to have the ability to search anything. He's a 71-year-old man that only searched for convicts, not missing children. That's
And if
Thank you,
he's
Pamela.
already coming in and it thinks that Chris and Katie are guilty, that Seth and Tony in his ear, so that automatically tells you that he's not looking at this from an unbiased perception, which is wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
and honestly, like Seth, to be honest with you, all those searches, they were like number one, the campground search was like hours away from, like, it made no sense that was searched. Another thing is like the actual search with where when Clue was with them. I heard from Clue that it was very disorganized search. They could have easily missed Sebastian because they searched. It was just not actually a grid search. Then you have the boat. I don't even think that's a search. I think they just basically just drove a boat around the lake. I mean, like, I just think like that's not really a search. I don't
Right.
think.
Professionals came out and said they weren't even conducting that correctly.
Yeah.
Brittany, is not hypocrisy at its finest. I don't like Seth at all, but nobody should be accused of any parent of harming their child with zero proof. It's disgusting. You stop. We haven't done that. I can't even tell you how many times I've stated I don't think Seth is involved in Sebastian's disappearance. But I mean, to be fair, there is proof of him harming Sebastian at one point or another. But I digress. Like, didn't we just get to sit here and say everybody on this panel has never accused Seth? We've never.
No,
Just
Yeah,
I've
because
we're
said
of
saying
looking at his
that's the
behaviors.
problem.
Right. It's like selective hearing, man.
I've said that multiple times that there's no evidence pointing, like there's no, like, the same as that there's no evidence pointing Chris and Katie being guilty. There's no evidence of Seth. But I
Right.
will state that, he wants to jump into the arena of speculation against his ex-wife and honestly, Seth has a lot of weird situations surrounding him. I'm not going to jump in and be like, oh, well, you're all wrong for doing that, because he's literally in the chat of BHB telling her, way to go, BHB, harass my ex-wife and accuse her of being a murderer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not going to fight that battle. You jumped into the arena. I would normally kind of defend you a little bit, but no, I'm not. I'm sorry. No, sorry.
And now you got Nick the Hat doing the same thing, backing Betty up on her behaviors, on her antics. You tell me they're here for Sebastian? Taco Tuesday or Tennessee Tuesday? I hear there's a case challenging the First Amendment. Hey, at Dog Bounty Hunter, be careful, brother. They might get you next. You tell me this guy's here for all the right reasons, yet he goes live, talks in circles, word salad, brings up drama and trolls all the time. All of his facts came from YouTube. You can't convince me otherwise. And now he's trying to, instigate the police that are investigating this disappearance. We're supposed to believe this guy is hired by the elite to do this? Come on. Come on. Do you arrest everybody who covers the case or only those who discuss the untold story? Betty is discussing the untold story? What untold story? The story you got from Seth Rogers? What untold story?
I would honestly say Betty has covered this case the worst out of anyone. And there's a lot of people. I mean, like, I even think like Brittany J covered the story better than Betty. And I honestly think almost everyone covered it. You know what? There is no protective order against Brittany J. There's no protective order against the lab. There's no protective order against Justin. There's no protective order against anyone else. You know why? Because they kept it online. They had their opinions on the case, agree with them or disagree with them. They didn't go and say to themselves, hey, we're going to harass. Even JR didn't even get one. Do you know why? Because, like, he didn't jump out of his car and try to confront, the grandfather in the middle of the road and then say that he was going to get a gun and go fight with a gun. Okay, yeah, he was in front of the job pointing and he was filming in front of the house, but he did not threaten a firearm. That is the big difference.
And he also, not only that, but he also wasn't out here screaming that they took Sebastian's life.
Yeah. Like, he did not threaten any violence with a gun or anything like that. I don't agree with him jumping in front of Chris's job and pointing or going in front of filming the house, but there is a clear difference that she has crossed the line. She has clearly crossed the line from just simply filming in front of the house and being a nuisance and a harasser to being someone that should be, have an RO, like a TPO, like an actual restraining order against, because she has become dangerous. Okay, this is a deranged woman who has a history of attempts at violence at people that she was, she wasn't convicted of, but she was arrested for, and there's like a history of that. And now this woman is doing the same thing, and this woman has a history of pretending to be a victim but being the perpetrator in a lot of scenarios. And I think that's kind of a dangerous thing, you know?
I agree. The talk's not off of Seth because this is Seth's team. It's technically not off of Seth. I mean, it's not a distraction. It's none of those things. We've always managed to have several discussions without it being quote unquote a distraction. I think the only people that are telling us it's a distraction is because they have a reason they don't want us talking about them. Sorry. It's how I feel.
I mean,
There's very many things shady about this guy.
yeah, and I
That
just
is
think,
the distraction.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I just think like Nick is a very, very sketchy individual. Uh, I think the clout is the new. A lot of people say, well, he's not doing a GoFundMe or anything like that. Well, clout is a new currency. Okay. If you can
Right.
get eyes and attention, that is worth more than just a simple $100 here or $100 there. Simple as that. How do you think GLR got famous? Like,
I started off the same way. Same thing.
you know what I mean? Like, let's be real. Like, this is how you get famous, and then you get a following, and then you get money. Like,
Right. And for somebody who claims they're not here for the money, they're not here for the drama, they're here strictly for Sebastian, they're only going to go live when there's updates. He's done everything opposite. He's turned on ad revenue as often as he could. He's getting the memberships. Matter of fact, I showed you all where he said because he was demonetized over here on YouTube, he was going to utilize other platforms and as many as he could to get the most ad revenue, get the most money out of it as he could. And that's exactly what he's doing. So
Yeah,
the guy is all in it for money.
mhm.
it's just salacious stuff for attention, for views, for whatever you want to call it. I mean, I don't understand how any of it's supposed to work. I don't get how agreeing with, a bunch of bullshit and what pumping somebody's ego up from 7 states away is going to get them to suddenly confess. That just does not track to me in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, what's your name, sir? Like your YouTube name, by the way, not your actual name.
Oh yeah, nobody can see. It's SS.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't recognize your voice yet. I haven't had too many conversations with you. But I see
Oh
you.
yeah,
SS?
we've only been on panel a couple of times together.
Yeah. But
Oh,
yeah,
good
I mean, it's
morning.
just. Oh, good morning, by the way. Just
What's
an-
shaking?
Yeah, you guys are right. It is free advertisement. You're right. He was going to get it anyway, But it's not distracting. Like what could it possibly be distracting us from?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's distracting us so we can pay attention to his channel. I mean, his channel's growing now. His channel was
Oh
dead,
yeah.
and now it's growing. Like it did exactly. I think you should probably show the 3-minute video about Betty's search of SS Rowland.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea. And you're right. You're right. His channel has absolutely grown. He knew it would grow. That's why he did what he did. I mean,
Yeah,
come on. We
he's
all
an
knew that.
he's an
I think
expert
he's
at trolling.
chasing JLR. They were friends. I said this on Queen's panel. Why has JLR not come out and spoken about this guy, especially if they were personal friends in the past? There's reasons for it, and probably not good ones. And I feel like where JLR is now, because he surpassed him at the Danilo situation, this Nick is like, that must be the way. I'm going to jump onto true crime, and he's going to
Right.
follow in his footsteps. Only he's going to do the trolling, the shitty shit that JLR is known for in his past. That's where this guy's at.
Well, they're going to
Right.
have
He's
to do a
starting at the
rap
bottom.
battle.
He's
Yeah,
starting at the bottom of where JLR was. I think you're right.
they're going to have to rap battle for the true crime crown.
Right. I think
Oh
JLR brought
man,
Nick. I don't think he brought Nick on. I think Nick's been watching JLR and seen JLR getting all these views and attention. He saw this as the big thing everybody's talking about, so he jumped on it. That's what I
yeah,
think happened. I don't think
yeah.
necessarily JLR like reached out to Nick and was like, "Hey, come on this." I don't think that at all. I just think that this was Nick's way of like I said, bringing attention back to his channel. His channel was
Wow.
nothing. He was lucky if he got 50 likes on something. Now all of a sudden he grew 1,000. He's suddenly getting views.
7,000 views.
Yeah.
Why would anybody reach out to this dude though? I mean, that's the thing. They keep saying this, but with everyone who's available out in the world, and something like the FBI, who could get anyone that they wanted to be a mouthpiece,
Yeah.
what on earth would possess possess you to go for this schmuck
I,
who's on paper.
I mean, I would go for like Ikemil, Gray Hughes, Grizzly True Crime, Duty
Exactly.
Ron. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? Like
I would go with Gray if it was me.
10
But
to
yeah,
Life, 10 to Life. Like someone who's got like a million followers or hundreds of thousands of followers. I mean, I would go for like the big dogs. I'd be like, yo, I mean, how much do you want to like? I got the money. I got some backers here. How much would it be to
Right.
join
yeah.
this
Or
Exactly.
B, Tim, forget social media. If this was really about finding Sebastian, it wasn't about clicks and views, they would hire an actual private investigator. They wouldn't hire
Exactly.
a reality show. Quite frankly, he is a has-been. They wouldn't
Complete.
hire a no-name Nick from over here. They would hire an actual company that is professional and able to do it.
Yeah, I would want, I mean, my personal opinion, if I would want someone that had a large following of people that has a clean record, like Grizzly or any of those people, because they have clean record. Not 10 for Life, she has some shenanigans, but I would still, if she has a large following, she'd
Yeah, no,
probably
I
get a lot
know
of
what
people
you
watch.
mean.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't think it has anything to do with social media aspect. People are acting like the FBI hired these clowns to come in. I just don't believe that. I think
No, of
that's
course not.
crazy.
Yeah, well, that's
How
what that
about that Cajun Navy people? We were told that they left because of death threats, but then come to find out during that vigil thing when that other guy was speaking, he said that they were asked to leave. So that was another lie we were told.
Yes. Yes, you're
So
right.
why were they asked to leave? And why is it that so many people who go around Seth come back saying that they had a weird experience, something shady, it's up, they didn't feel comfortable around him? I can see if you have like, if it's 2 out of 10, not when it's like 6, 7, 8 people all feel the same way. That tells me they're not all lying. Something
Right.
is up.
No, you're right. And that's the same thing as Seth sending out cease and desist to actual boots on the ground people in Tennessee that were helping, including Chloe. I mean, I have a feeling something like that's going on as well. I'm not gonna lie. I do feel like there's what other chance, when all this comes up, why hasn't JLR mentioned this at all? At all? Is it because he disagrees and he doesn't want to insult, prior relationship he's had, or is it because he's involved in it? I don't know.
Yeah, something's there though, for real.
Yeah, I don't know. There's been no statements made. There's been, this is a significant change of what's going on, and JLR hasn't talked about it at all. Not, I don't know. Something weird about it.
It is
This
weird
is just
because
my personal opinion. They're past buddies. He probably knows that he's a con man. When JLR got popular, what did he have, like 100K or something? I could see this Nick being like, hey, you're my friend. Give me a shout out. Let's
Yeah.
do something. Let's work together. And JLR has Magnolia, who probably was like, we
Don't
shouldn't
do
do
it.
this.
Yeah,
And
I feel
then
like I feel like Magnolia is probably telling her like don't associate with that fucking guy.
That's
Uh,
exactly what I think it is. I think it's Magnolia probably is like, yeah, stay away. But
Yeah.
JLR has, maybe some type of respect for him that he doesn't want to step
Or
on any
dirt.
toes with,
Or
or dirt, or whatever, right?
But this one says in February 2023, no, 2022, 2 years old.
2-year-old JJ Rodlin went missing from his home. Betty showed up the next day and was first thing she starts bringing up rumors the parents may be involved with his disappearance. Sound
Yeah.
familiar?
Yeah, that's
She's
why I
the
wanted to bring
worst.
this up.
All right,
So-
let's play it. Let's play it.
I have to be honest with you that the whole custody situation does concern me a little bit. Finding out that the mom this is the first visit the mom has had in some time, and this has happened. These are things that I've heard. I have not corroborated through law enforcement or anything else. So, that may.
This was just a year ago.
Yeah, and
Look at the change in her face from a year to now.
Well, that's what happens when you eat fucking dollar
Yeah.
store meat.
She looks
she's
puffy.
aged 5 years since she was arrested for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
She aged 5 years since the lawsuit. That's
Yeah,
the law.
yeah.
The stress.
Yep.
Wow.
It may be partly accurate, may not be accurate at all, and may be spot on. We don't know at this moment.
I hope to
but
see,
it does.
I know JLR was out here yesterday, but I hope to see more a social media presence out here advocating for this young boy.
There has to be something wrong with her face, like poison ivy. excuse me,
Bee
something that makes
sting,
her
maybe.
something that makes her face look puffy. This isn't normal. I mean, this
Yeah.
isn't her
Yeah.
normal looking face.
I like how you said bee stings. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has, yeah, bee
We have a
stings.
lot of social
That
media
is
Got that.
influencers here in the state of Florida, and for them not to be out here is truly a shame. This is some. I was able to bypass the actual registration because I'm a concealed weapons permit holder. That means I've already went through FBI background checks.
Oh,
So they're not concerned with me. They don't worry about me being a felon or, you know, having a violent criminal record.
but you do have a violent crime. Okay, all right, whatever.
This is my legs right now, just covered. This is where snakes are. Oh God, these things, these stickers are getting all over me, and they're bothering my leg. Whew. As you can see, I'm already sweating. I'm pouring with sweat right now, and it's hot out here. We've already walked quite a bit of distance. I know it doesn't seem like it on this phone, but we have walked quite a bit of distance into this forest area. And I'm already running out of juice on one of my phones.
All she's doing is
The
complaining.
drinks, the pockets, and this phone, which I don't even have hooked up to a battery source while I'm trying to do
Oh my
this. So
gosh.
give me a second. I got to get some coffee in me. I'm sweating like a freaking stuck pig over here. It is
You think
hot.
she would
well,
be yelling the child's name? Isn't that what you're
Right.
supposed to do when you search?
Yeah, she's spending more time complaining. They said this isn't even like 30 minutes in. And how many complaints did we hear within the first
17. It was 17 minutes she stopped searching after this. It was only-
17 minutes? And all we've heard is complaining. This is insanity.
And she's blaming. And watch when she says like she thinks the child is dead after 17 minutes. Oh, I don't think he's out there. I loved.
Oh, geez.
Hot.
Good.
It is muggy out here. It is everything you guys can imagine. And these stickers all down my thing, those are not even a tenth of the stickers that were on my person just a little bit ago. See them?
Good morning,
Those things,
Victoria.
when they get in the crevices, they start hurting. They start rubbing together. So I have to be honest with you. You
Right,
know,
Tracy.
I go off of my perspective, off my experiences with other cases. And this is not an area that I think a 2-year-old would come to. Here's why. I think the 2-year-old would be scared. I think the 2-year-old would look at this and be very, very nervous. Even if he lives around here, you know, 2 years old, you're scared of just about anything. You're scared of strangers. You're scared of a lot of stuff. So, you know, I don't know what's.
So little.
I know.
Sorry, I'm still picking these stickers off of me, trying to get them so I can
Has
at
she
least
screamed
walk. Like I
the
said, I
baby
really don't
scream?
care. Honestly, we got some other things to talk about. I'm looking around here. There is no way that this little boy is back here in these woods.
I came up on some woods and I listened good. I heard like a whimpering kind of noise. And at that point,
Let's point out what the difference was. He went into the woods and he listened good. He wasn't
Yes.
running his mouth. He wasn't complaining about the heat and his coffee and his stickers. He was silent because he was listening for a baby.
Yep.
And that's how he found him.
Yeah, and look how well
Point up.
he's dressed. He's got
Right.
a walking stick. He's got short sleeve like shirt. He got a hat on, sunglasses. That's how you're supposed to dress, not in yoga pants.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, see,
Exactly.
Tim, I remember this. This guy was local and he was planning to go fishing. And he went
Yes.
to the gas station. He heard that this boy was missing and something told him, maybe I'm going to go and I'm going to go help and search. And he did it out of the goodness of his heart.
Right. He doesn't
Unlike
have a
Betty.
phone out. He's not recording. He's not insinuating the
who-
parents are involved.
Anybody who thinks kids won't go missing somewhere like that is nuts.
Yeah.
I mean,
They don't
know
there's
what
countless examples of kids being found in way worse situations than that.
I'll never forget when Betty said, when it came to summer wells, did anybody check the trees to make sure she didn't fall asleep? Like, what, Betty? What? Oh, so this amazing man.
I was like, there's
behind
no
her.
other kids here. It's got to be JJ. So sure enough, I went in the woods and about 100 feet from where I was at, I think he was in some stickers. There's a lot of stickers and all there, but he was happy to see me. You know, he put his hands up and
Oh,
he was real happy. And
what a blessing.
Yep.
While Betty While Betty could barely handle 30 minutes in the woods, 2-year-old JJ spent over 24 hours in the woods barefoot and alone in the sticker bushes.
And notice that
And in
he's
shorts.
barefoot and
He's
he's
got little
barefoot.
shorts on.
Yeah, he's barefoot, little shorts. Look at his poor little arms. But he
And
was
that's why-
found.
And that's why it's like crazy to me. People are like, oh my God, Sebastian Rogers was barefoot. Well, this 2-year-old was barefoot and he survived 24 hours in the woods.
Right.
So many people who go missing like that are actually found without shoes or boots on. I mean, it's very common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even adults. Aaron Hedges, they found his boots by his fire in Montana, but they did find him 2 years later, I guess. But point being, it's not uncommon at all.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
and to be honest, they never confirmed that Sebastian was barefoot.
Yeah, that too. Well, and I've always wondered because when the dog scent goes out the front door, he goes to the backyard, then comes back to the front and leaves to the neighbors. I've always wondered, did he go to the back to check to see if his mother's light went on, or was he maybe getting a muddy pair of shoes off the back porch, or I don't know. I know here when we come in the back door, a lot of times we leave like muddy boots and things right out back. It's just always been a thought to me.
Yeah, I think Katie and Chris would have known if there were shoes on the back deck, or you know what I mean, if they had it like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, Nonsense has a question for you, Granny.
Granny, question: when you were in person with Nick, was he this hyperactor and was he normal acting? So, all right, I have footage of Nick when I was in person with Nick.
Are you gonna sell it?
Yeah, maybe I will actually. So he was very shy. He didn't want the camera on him. He didn't show himself. No, he was not like this at all. Quite honestly, not at all. He's very much acting for the camera. He's lost a lot of weight. I think he's had new teeth done. But no, he was not like this. And again, I hate to repeat this, but they were drunk. I mean, Hong was a very nice man. They were very nice. Like, it was hot out. I mean, it was like 100 degrees. And Hong asked me, do you want something to drink? And I said, yeah, I would love that. He said, do you want a water or a beer? And, I laughed with him, whatever. Like, oh my God, you got beer? What it was, but whatever. They gave me water. They were very nice. I'm not saying they weren't nice people, but they also did nothing but sit in the van and record. They had great equipment, but they weren't like, matter of fact, I think I even have on camera where the actual media was insulting them. That they were kind of, and the other guy, gosh, what was the other guy they called him? He's the one that claims that his daughter found, they just arrested the guy for her arrest over in New York. And people raised money for her to get therapy.
Rachel Moran.
Yes.
So-
What is the stepfather's nickname?
I forget.
He was there with Danila. I remember Dolly came on the scenes and asked the guy, oh, do you need anything? And the guy needed cigarettes. And Dolly collected money to get the guy cigarettes and never got the guy the cigarettes. But I can't think of what his name was. But they were all very like that guy act like, he'd give permission if your car can come through in Blackhawk. He kind of act like he ran shit. Like, oh, like you can't have your car here. And I'm like, well, yeah, I can type of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. But so the answer, I guess, ultimately, Nonsense is no, he's very much acting for the camera. He wasn't this way. He was way more humbled. He was humbled. Maybe it's his new connection to dog that he thinks he's like some big deal. But when I met him, he was not this obnoxious.
Granny, can I just add quick to that video you were showing with that little boy, JJ? So before she went out to search for him, when she went live and found out that he was missing, she literally said to her audience, I want everything on this family. I want to know about the mother. I want to know about the father. And she instantly was basically accusing them and having her subs send all their private information.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
And if he wasn't found, then what was she going to go on to do? Harass, stalk, blame. That is her MO. Find me a case that Bullhorn Betty has not attacked one or both of the parents.
The first time I ever saw her, that's what she did, and she's kept doing it right on through today.
Well, and I think the biggest stark difference is that gentleman went in without a phone out. He wasn't talking. He was quietly listening. And because he was paying attention to actually searching and not complaining or entertaining an audience, he was able to hear that baby.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes the difference. I think
And Betty could have
we're not
walked
here.
right through. I mean, like the problem is what Betty did was very dangerous because, as a grid search, they mark off the areas that you search. So she could have just not heard the child because she's too focused on her chat, and that child
Right.
is now dead. And
That's
then
what I'm
you-
saying. Yeah.
Well, it just all goes down to the motive of why you're there. That guy was there for no other reason than to just try to genuinely see I guess fishing and try to genuinely help. She's only there for herself, and she just gets views through outrage and belligerence.
Yeah. And she gets mad and she doesn't realize that she's actually risking the deaths of children when she does things like that. When you
Yeah,
do
that
things
was
like,
careless.
She never considers how her
And-
actions affect other people.
Not only that, but her like complaining to her audience and stuff like could distract the other searchers from hearing him as well, because instead they're hearing Betty complain about the stickers and the coffee and the sweat and all those things. Thank you so much, Jill. Nonsense is asking, did he mention dog while there? No. I, not at all. I'm going to go through some of the footage I never uploaded and see what I can show you all. He did the same thing. Like he was underneath the tree. He was kind of just walking in circles. At that time, he wasn't showing himself. I remember thinking, because the audience was saying like how his voice, they loved his voice. And I'm thinking, if you saw him, you know what I mean? I hate to be that petty, but that was my actual thought at that moment. Yeah, he's just not what he's making himself out to be. He just wasn't. Yeah, Johnny Blackhawk was annoying too, to be honest. No disrespect, but they act like they ran the scenes is what it was. And it's like, you guys are not, I mean, even the news reporters, the one news reporter was like, I actually went to college and got credentials, and these guys show up with media shirts and printed out passes. And, like he was insulted by them, understandably so. Thank you, Seymour. Good morning, Janine. I just don't understand how people really would think that Nick would be the chosen one to go in undercover. And if it was like an undercover op, would he be this loud and annoying and obnoxious?
There's no way. There's no way.
Right.
I mean, I would believe basically anyone before him. If you want attention, do what B. Tim said. Go for one of the big channels that already exist. If you want undercover, go for pretty much anyone except him. And ultimately,
or you strictly go to the news stations. You don't even bother with YouTube.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, with that too.
First
and foremost.
I mean, the thing is, it's like when you go to the news stations, you're punching out of the bubble. Like you got to realize that we're all like little bubbles on YouTube. There's a self-contained kind of like community in each bubble.
Yeah.
You got you got the drama, the true crime, you got commentary channels, you got all these bubbles. And the power of the mainstream media is it actually goes out of the bubble and actually goes into the mainstream. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's the power of the mainstream media.
Yeah,
right.
It's not siloed like we are here in our various echo chambers.
Well, and what Nonsense just said here, that crossed my mind the other day. Do you guys remember when I got that weird email from the woman telling me I was the chosen one?
Are you the chosen one?
I was offered
Yes.
the chosen one position, which I did not take, but I was absolutely offered a chosen one position, which was very bizarre. The whole thing was bizarre, but I get where people are thinking, or they're wanting faith or hope that, these guys are working some big undercover operations thing and they're going to get it and they're going to solve it.
But I mean, major amounts of K. What is K?
Only someone was like, oh yeah, ketamine. Special K. You never heard of that?
No, I don't do,
You never been stuck in a K hole, Tim?
He said, I don't do the drugs.
I don't do the drugs.
I don't do
originally a horse tranquilizer.
I just drink coffee. That is the only drug I do is coffee. That's right. I'm drinking right now. That's it.
I think it's cute that you consider a drug a coffee. I mean, coffee a drug.
It is a drug, actually.
I guess it could be.
It is a drug, technically. It is a drug. It's an addictive substance, not a highly addictive. You just get headaches if you go off of it.
That is true.
It's a stimulant, so it is a drug.
People are addicted to caffeine. All right, fine. Hey, Naomi, good morning. K-hole quicksand. I guess Nick thinks Proudfoot haven't done any news interviews. He told them to go to Nancy Grace. He doesn't know anything. He's taken everything he knows off of social media. We hear him repeating social media drama. It's unbelievable. I just, and then for him to keep saying he's not here for the drama, he's tired of hearing either Proudfoot or Seth. It's all about Sebastian. I've heard him mention such horrible things now about the Proudfoots while backing up Seth. It's weird.
Terrible. And then like almost demanding that he needs to have their phone so that they can call him and go through them. I mean, what the hell was that? Well, it's like the people that were coming in 3 or 4 months on demanded to go in their house with a dog. I mean, are you nuts? Ain't nobody
right.
What
reputable person is going to say that?
I wouldn't let Nick in my house, so he might plant something.
Yeah, that's exactly
that's
what
he's known for.
That's exactly what I said. This dude's calling escorts on his neighbors. How do you know he ain't gonna put something in your shit?
Well, not only did he do that, but he took an actual email from a government official. He copied it so that he could then write in whatever he wanted to write and put that out on a fake news site, then reached out to actual news companies, used an actual media name. So he impersonated actual news reporters to ask them their opinions on what they were doing to poor Nick over there. He set all that up.
Yeah.
Tim, what about the drug thing that we learned yesterday? Can you share that with them about him buying the drugs?
Yeah, I'm going to run to the restroom.
I have to pull that up, the articles, because I'm not going to remember all that. But basically, he bought drugs. The sum and substance is he bought drugs from this drug dealer and then decided to take the drugs to the police to kind of tell them about the drugs. And then he got arrested for that. And he had extra pills than he had in his text messages. I mean,
so he's a narc too, on top of everything else.
Yeah, he's a snitch.
I mean, you just can't be any worse than this dude then. So he's not a good criminal. He's not serious. I mean, I just don't get it. But even bigger than that, the thing that I really don't get is how is agreeing with all this shit and talking about it supposed to get Seth, which I'm not even saying Seth is, has anything to do with it. How is it supposed to get him to suddenly start talking and like confess or something? I just do not get that. Do either of you?
No, I don't.
I mean, it's like agree with Seth, befriend him, then something happens, then you save the day by solving the case. It just doesn't track.
No, I think they're going to blame Chris and Katie and continue the attacks on them.
Yeah.
And like I said, who would want to cooperate with them? So then that's going to fuel it and rage the fire even more when the next headline is Chris and Katie don't want to talk to dog. Well, there's reasons why. I wouldn't want to talk to him either.
Yeah.
And then it's going to set everybody off. What are they hiding? Why won't they talk to dog?
It's exactly what the next.
Why would you talk to dog? Like the guy, honestly, like I wouldn't talk to dog about anything. He's honestly, like people have this mystique about dog. The guy was a bounty hunter, and he had a reality TV show. Guys, he's not like I would rather talk to Duty Ron. Like at least Duty Ron's a retired police officer. I'd be like, okay, that why the fuck would I talk to Dog the bounty hunter for anything?
Yeah, it doesn't track to me either. I don't get it. And I also, just being petty, do not believe for a second that the dude commands a $500,000 retainer.
No.
I mean, that's just absurd.
You know what? I demand a $500,000 retainer. That means that I really have a $500,000 retainer.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly.
This is called capitalism. You can ask for whatever you want, but if the people are willing to pay that amount, that's a different story.
There's no way in hell that dude can bring $500,000 of benefit to anything. I mean, that's just nuts to me.
$500,000, you could probably get yeah, man.
You could buy a damn ad on fucking television. Real damn good one for $500,000.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if he just went up to I'd probably rather have SF investigates probably, and he'd do it a lot. He'd probably do it for free.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's kind of crazy when he stated that line, when he says, I think that, because he's not one to state those things lightly. I follow the guy. I've seen him in a lot of cases. He keeps a lot of things to his vest, a lot of things. He's privy to a lot of information, and he does not shoot it out unless he knows he's allowed to. And that's a little bit of an odd one for me. But
what, SF?
I think that was frustration.
Because I was going to say the same thing. I do. I think it was frustration as well.
Yep.
And I don't know much detail about it, but it does seem that this SF, it has an upcoming search planned, and with the foliage is going to be dying, so it's going to be a lot easier with visibility to be out there and walk around. A
Yes.
real search, a grid search with a proper PI. Why is nobody talking about that? We
That's
want to
the
talk
other
about
thing.
truth serum and jammers.
Right. Well, first off, we have spoken about that, but that, Amanda, first off, if you come up on panel, I'll see if Chris will come up on panel. How about that, sweetheart? That's the other thing people aren't realizing. I hate to keep going back to Danilo, but since these are the same characters from that, when it came to Danilo Cavalcante, we're talking about a man who was 5 feet, right? So around the height of Sebastian and around the weight of Sebastian, he was able to evade the heaviest search manhunt I have ever seen. There was helicopters, there were canines, there was military forces on top of every single local LE enforcement there was. There was FBI on the roads, everything. That man was able to escape and hide. Now, I'm not saying Sebastian's hide, I'm just giving an example, because it was such a heavily dense area. He was able for over a week to surpass all the checkpoints, all the things going on. I can't even explain to you what this presence was like. There was military everywhere. There was dogs everywhere. There's everything.
Look at the guy from the 90s that did the bombings at the Olympics and stuff. Well, Eric Rudolph or whatever his name was. I mean, he went on for years on the FBI most wanted list, and he never left the woods of the Carolinas.
Yeah, well, I mean, with this, they knew where they had an idea of where Danilo was. They just couldn't find him. There is such a chance, because it is so heavily wooded where Sebastian lives, that you just wouldn't be able to see.
Yeah, that's
I think it's crazy that people think, oh, well, they searched, they didn't find anything, so he can't be there. Yeah, they were. Do you know how many times Danilo said they walked right over him? Walked right over him?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Right,
you hear it all the time. You hear it all the time in these searches. I don't necessarily like everything about Missing 411, but I do just like that it's a collection of missing persons cases that aren't necessarily criminal. We're always used to criminal cases here, and it's interesting to see those.
We need
just
to
what can happen.
We need to figure out with Bigfoot with that one. We're gonna have to question Bigfoot on that 411.
Yeah. No, I don't want to get. I'm not bringing it up to get into all the weird stuff. I'm just specifically, for cases that aren't criminal. I think it's a good collection to look at.
We're gonna have to see if we see like a 12-foot long foot in the woods in Tennessee. We know what's up.
Yeah, no, I keep waiting on them to say it's aliens.
That is the other thing. People keep saying, well, Sebastian would have been on camera. Well, with Danilo, he was only caught on one camera, and it was a ring camera of a ex-roommate or coworker that he knocked on the door. Everybody in the areas were checking their cameras. There was 2 sightings of him. But with all the cameras in the area and all the different area, there was only 2 sightings of him on cameras.
Well, the houses there in that neighborhood are further off the road than they look. Some of them are like around their place. They're like 60 yards or more from there. So, I mean, it's probably really difficult to just pick up a random individual on a road.
Where Sebastian is?
Yeah. Cars are a way different thing.
Well, the fact is he wasn't caught on camera. I mean, it's just a fact.
Exactly.
Unless they do have him on footage somewhere, which they're not revealing to us. Which that can be the case. That was how they were in the Riley strain. I kept saying they must have more footage of them. Then they came out and said they had more footage.
Yeah.
I don't know, Autism. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for trying. That's what SF kept saying. Once the foliage starts to fall and they'll be able to see things. Just looking for attention. I'm not. If they aren't guilty, then why did they leave ARB? I'm not unstable, just special needs. I don't know. I don't see anybody even speaking with you, Amanda, and respectfully, you're not going to get very far with your opinions here. He said
they left in an RV because they were being stalked by crazy people that were basically driving drones over their house and filming in front of their house, and it didn't feel safe. There was even a guy that was live streaming that he was going to break into their yard to film and try to look through the yard.
Yeah, there was a lot of death threats.
They were receiving death threats and stuff like that, and it didn't feel safe at that time. And probably Katie would have been left at home if Chris was working. So he probably said, "Hey, jump into the RV. You can be here with me, and we'll keep an eye on you, so these crazy people don't fucking harass you and come after you or do something to you." Because you don't know. You can have some wackadoo jump from the internet, think they're fucking, some sort of CIA agent, break into the house and think they're gonna get answers from you.
Yeah,
Right. That is what they do. And Eat the Cupcake says, new sub, welcome. How are y'all justifying beating down Seth when you chastise everyone for doing the same to K and CP as small hypocrisy? Well, for one, no, I don't beat down people for, if they want to chastise them. I actually correct what I think they're doing wrong. I don't beat them down for it. There are people that beat people down for their opinion. I haven't done that. Secondly, there's a difference in saying the Proudfoots are absolutely guilty. I've never said Seth Rogers is guilty ever. Matter of fact, I've always believed that Sebastian left the house on his own that night, without any parent involvement. So your smell of hypocrisy must just be coming from, I don't know, around you.
Cupcake.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it's okay, if Chris and Katie were doing even a quarter of the fucking things and the shenanigans Mr. Seth Rogers was, we would be talking about it. That man has done multiple things. I mean, he jumped on a panel with a guy named Uncle Taco, who's friends with all the children in the world, in his own words, and started pretending that he was, something to himself that a man does by himself sometimes. On a panel. This is a man who has
an idiot.
Jumped on multiple live streams and said different stories of what happened in different scenarios. This is a man who has teamed up with a man named Tony Mathis, who is in the back chats doxing and doing drama, and also accidentally shown his peen through a green screen, which was the green screen of Sebastian Rogers on TikTok. And now he's invited Nick the Hat, a man who's known as a fucking fraudster, a con man, to help him out. And he's getting a E-list celebrity, fucking dog the bounty hunter on him, helping him out. He's also got 2 a.m. girls. He's also faking it up for cameras about his injuries. His story changes multiple times. I'm sorry if we point out the we're not blind here. It's there's inconsistencies, and I'm going to point that out. And if you don't like it,
that's too bad. And not only that, but to say look up groupthink, well, welcome to the internet, buddy. People usually only go and listen to something they agree with. It's not necessarily groupthink, because I've had somebody in here that thinks complete opposite of us the entire time, even throwing out insults, and they've remained, including yourself. So if this was groupthink, you would have never been acknowledged. Your comment would have been deleted, and you would have been told to F off. Instead, I respectfully answered you. You're welcome to stay, but you're absolutely wrong on what groupthink is. Do you sit in chats with people you staunchly disagree with? No, that's the internet. I hate when people say that, like, oh, you're running an echo chamber. Well, not necessarily. If Amanda Kramer in here has been running her mouth the entire time with a different opinion, many people in here disagree with me. They support Seth, and that's fine.
If you want to watch groupthink, go to a Brittany J stream.
That's where it's groupthink.
You can go to a Nick the Hat stream where he just bans you for having a wrong opinion.
And he's banned. They were deleting left and right last night. You wouldn't even get this far in some chats, to be honest. So
Granny not only lets you disagree and
I look at
fine
this
with it, she invites you up.
Right. I look at the stupid shit Amanda's been writing the whole time. I'm just letting her go. Go ahead, Amanda. You know what I mean? You think differently than me. Fine. Let out all your feelings and thoughts. Doesn't mean you're right. So no, I don't think it's groupthink. YouTube Hysteria has written many comments I strongly disagree with, and she's still here. They're still here.
Yeah.
So no, it's not
all we're doing though is really discussing the truth that on the things that Seth and Tony and his group of characters are doing, and pointing out when they get caught in the lies. None of these channels that talk about Seth and they don't like what he's doing, that doesn't take away from he's a father with a missing kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and look at the thumbnails. Just BHB alone does about Chris and Katie. Nobody's running around screaming that Seth's a murderer and that he killed his child. No.
Right.
There's a big difference.
And this is the honest truth. If this was, roles were reversed and these people were coming in on Chris and Katie's side, I'd have the same thoughts and feelings.
Exact same thing.
It's a freaking weird thing.
Yep.
It's not Seth. Chris and Katie did it. Then laughing, Katie said his smile is guilty. That you respectfully, you don't know what you're talking about. So please at least make your comments be based off facts and truth, though. Okay. I would appreciate that because it's starting to get annoying. Like, I'm starting to think you're just a troll that's here to try to aggravate, and you're doing a good job at it. But, just try next time to write your comments based off actual things that have taken place. They've never said anybody's smile is guilty. But I will say there was a time where Seth was on a panel, and I can pull it up, and he literally said, "You're not asking the right questions," and he smirked about it. Who plays games like that when their child's missing? Who has time to sit on a panel and brag about what they did to their ex roommate, who they admittedly stated had mental health issues, that wasn't taking his medicine, and because of that, they got them kicked out of their home that they were all living in together. Years later, this roommate comes in to get a pizza from a shop Seth's working at, and Seth then decides years later to seek his revenge by spitting on the man's food, rubbing it all over the floor to get the food spices when the dough was wet, and is laughing about this horrific thing he did to a man who he admitted had mental
God,
health issues and was now
such a
back on the
scumbag.
medication. I mean, that's how somebody who waits years to seek revenge on
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Come
He's
on.
a total scumbag in my opinion. But also in the same breath, I'm not going to jump out and say he's guilty of a crime I don't have evidence for.
Right.
I mean, he's done so many terrible things we can all point to, both in this case and well before it, showing a pattern of behavior of disregard, just like Betty's. But I've never heard anybody get up on here and accuse him or do any of the belligerent stuff that people have done towards the Proudfoot. So
No. Yeah, how he gave $12K out of his GoFundMe to save Michaela's house. Right. No,
yeah,
messing with people's food, you have to be like seriously demented to do something
yes,
like
you
that,
do.
especially to wait years later and come across that person and do that. Like you
Well,
were
I
that
mean,
resentful from years prior that you spit and rubbed somebody's food on the ground and sat there and laughed as he ate it. Come on.
it kind of goes to a little bit of like if you really wanted to look at Seth, you could say to yourself, that's kind of a mode, like kind of a routine he has where he waits years for revenge,
Right.
and
No,
then
I
suddenly
agree.
Yeah,
he sits back and watches as he laughs. I mean, you can
Right.
easily, but that's what I mean. Like every time
And
he
took
talks,
praises. He took
yeah,
praises, beat him, because don't forget the guy came back and told him it was the best pizza he's ever had and actually ordered a second one to go.
yeah.
Oh my God.
But this
Yes.
is you know what I mean? But that's how you can easily, that guy talks too much. He talks too much and he makes himself look bad. And then you expect people not to say, well, that looks weird.
Amanda, now you're going to be put in timeout unless you can direct me exactly to where on any single thing you've ever heard Chris refer to Sebastian as the R word. Okay, so and I'm going to give you a 10-second timeout to go find that, and then come back and tell me where I could hear Chris Proudfoot calling Sebastian Rogers that. Okay, and until then, don't come back. And actually, one of my mods are going to do it because I'm not capable of putting you in timeout right now without making it for days. So if one of the mods wouldn't mind, give her a quick timeout so she can go find that video. Can't stand when people make up. You're taking that off a rumor of an alleged neighbor that called in.
yep. Total rumor.
So
But to bounce
stupid.
off what you guys are saying, sorry, Granny, about like how spiteful and revengeful and him holding on to things for years, it just makes me think of how he's treating Chris and Katie. And sometimes I seriously wonder if he even thinks they are guilty. This is just his opportunity to get
To seek
back at
revenge.
her. Yeah,
Right.
the scornful lover.
It is. It is. I'm not sure I believe the pizza story lies about everything out. Right. But to fabricate a story like that is even worse.
Yeah, well, I do believe stuff like that. I think that if he's actually saying those things that can be perceived as negative about him, I mean, I don't know. I believe it, and I also believe if he's willing to share that kind of stuff publicly, God only knows what we don't know.
Right. I mean, again, this is somebody who sought revenge years later. And even if he made the story up, I think that's even worse. I
Yeah,
think that's worse. Yeah, I asked about that. Like with the February 20, would it be like a date that stands out to him? I I find it suspicious.
yeah,
Hey, hey, hey,
that is
hey,
the
run for
one
your
thing.
life.
The date definitely. It always has made me feel weird about the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not saying, and I will never say that I think without a doubt Seth is involved, but I do think Seth has told a lot of inconsistencies. I think he has used this moment, not you, Naomi. I think he has used this moment to get attention for himself. I think he loves the attention he's gotten. Right. Don't forget the hairs, right? Uninvited ghetto superstar. Don't forget the hairs he put in that. Um, and I just think it says a lot about his character. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, BHB did. She's, yeah, defective and all these horrible things.
Yeah, but she also talked about euthanizing children. Like, that's okay. I mean, that was
Right.
insane. What was it she said? In some cases, that's the best. I
They're
don't
like
remember the exact
animals and
words. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, these are the people that he chooses to bring around, and both of them, him and her. It's not like, some people say, oh, well, imagine what he's going through. You can't understand what that's like. Yes, I mean, I agree. I do, or I would go harder. Like, it's unimaginable. But I mean, all these stories and things that we have. I mean, we got 20 years worth of material to pull from with both of them.
Here's my thing when it comes to like, oh, well, think what he's going through. I've done that. But if Seth himself is up on panels and he's joking, he's acting like he's, doing a private moment that no man should joke about, especially on a public platform full of women, or he's sitting up there bragging about the time he put pubes and spit in somebody's pizza to seek revenge years later. When he's doing things like that, he's not acting like a grieving father. So why do
Yeah.
I have to picture him as a grieving father if that's not the image he's placing forth?
That's very true, too. That's very true.
That's two people I definitely don't want cooking for me.
I know.
Uh,
Betty and Seth, can you imagine what their dinner times will be like?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He did at least stay there. So did he go CP to get his RB? I don't know, but he did at least spend the first few nights there. And he even lied about that. He claimed when he was first asked, when he went to Katie's house, that he just sat on the couch and he watched everybody's body language and listened to what they were saying. And then next thing you know, he comes out with some ridiculous story about, oh, she shoved the camera in my face and was like, look. It doesn't even make sense. 2 straight weeks of daily hit pieces on Seth. Then he dropped a rap video. Then enter Nick. But what do you mean by that? So what would that mean? What's his part in this? I don't. Other than passing the buck over to his buddy, what could his part be? I don't know. I don't think it's a big part that has to do with FBI and being undercover agents. And I think that's given too much credit to these people.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. I also think that you wouldn't have to pass the buck to somebody like that for him to jump in when he thought the getting was good.
It's weird. I don't. Right, exactly. I don't know. I think Katie and Chris have been very accommodating to Seth. I think they have as well. But again, there's red flags that can be pointed out on both sides. Absolutely. I just think that Seth has given us way more of them, and they're brighter to me and they're waving louder. That's all. There's other channels where you'll find differently if you don't like what I'm saying. I remember
And look
Seth
at the
saying this.
characters. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
The characters, like how B. Tim says all the things that Tony has done, the characters that Seth has surrounded himself with, when we know there's real victims advocates out there, there's real professionals that you can go to that can help, maybe pro bono or just to guide you through this. No, he wants people who are going to push his agenda of bashing Chris and Katie. And
Yeah.
and no real victims advocate would ever say that that's okay.
Well, and not only that, but if you recall, Tony did say if we could just find a handful of channels that are willing to be, support channels, then that would be great. So, what lengths are they going? Are they willing to go to get those type of channels?
Yeah.
Unfiltered Opinion says, I'm a new subscriber. Welcome. But I remember Seth saying that there's 2 days that Kate will never forget: the day they got married and the day they got divorced. Wow. I don't recall him saying that, but I'd have to go back and listen. That's interesting. He did say that. Well, February 26th. That's the date.
Since the jump, though, Seth has been kind of against what everybody said initially. We know that there was issues at the command center there during the search. And, he come out, the first week with his press conference thing. And ever since then, he's basically went against everything everybody else wanted. It's always going to be his way or the highway. And for anybody in one of these cases to think like, oh, we need a group of channels that want to do our narrative. It's insane on the face of it. First off, why do you have a narrative? Second off, why are you doing anything except supporting law enforcement? Because that's the only way anything's going to get done. I mean, he sabotaged it since the jump. I mean, just anybody who can't see that or thinks that saying these things is unfair, I have to question, are they in it for Sebastian or are they in it to support his father? Because it certainly doesn't look like support for Sebastian. We should want, law enforcement to do whatever's right, and we should want them to not stick with any single narrative. And anybody pushing that is just, I mean, they're certainly not doing right by the missing kid. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think he was told to run outside and get something from someone real quick, and they snatched him. Oh, that's the theory. I don't know why the public opinion would matter so damn much. That you need a spokesperson, that you need channels that will push your narrative, that you get rid of professional private investigators that won't push your narrative. That makes no sense to me. Why does he care so much what the public thinks? Well, because the public is financially supporting him could be one reason. Other than that, you'd be more like, I don't care what the public thinks of me. I care what the police think. I'm working for the police. I'm following their guide.
Yeah.
Has
Yeah, that's
been-
what matters.
Yeah, I know, Mia. That's all he was doing.
It's getting to be brunch time. I'm going to hop down. I appreciate you letting me up.
Thank you for coming up and having, some sense. It's crazy.
I try
It
to.
was nice talking to you.
Nice to talk to y'all too. Take care.
You as well. Well, YouTube hysteria, if you're speaking about myself, that's because I had a document on the screen. That's it. That's all. And obviously with the opportunity in front of me, I saw it and asked some questions, but it's because of that document.
Yeah, it's all pretty crazy.
Right. And think about it, B10. So what if Chris reaches out to a creator, first off, because of a document, he's not in chats moderating, he's not up on panels, he's not making channels, he's not going on creators podcasts and saying, I'll come on if you'll drop my Cash App and GoFundMe. I mean, let's not forget that a lot of these channels came out and said that was Seth's stipulation for coming on their panel.
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine if, like, Katie did that. Like, he's like, okay,
right.
3 days after my kid's missing, I'm going to start a GoFundMe in my sister's name. And,
Right.
I'm only going to go on channels that drop my Cash App.
Right.
And I'm going to hire this random PR person who basically is going to dox everyone. And
threaten people behind the scenes.
And then I'm going to go on a panel and pretend I'm doing something to myself and joking and laughing while my son's missing. And, about and being disgusting with a guy named, Uncle Taco. And then I'm going to, she'd be crucified. She would be crucified.
Yep. And then don't forget the Cash App in the godmother's name, not even in Seth's name. And then he's up there on national news with any Politan asking, do they want to see my bank records? Well, the finances aren't even connected to you. And then you got Tony come out saying, well, Seth has to get the money through his sister. So Seth's sister still has that money?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's going to have to pay taxes on that because it's a GoFundMe.
I remember that on Filtered Opinions, that he made Katie sit in the back of the pickup while it was raining. That was another bizarre story.
And, like, people just been like, oh, that's a lovely story. I'm like,
right.
The people that were interviewing him, like, they didn't like raise an eyebrow, be like, wait a minute. That doesn't
Your newly given birth wife is made to sit in the back of a pickup truck during the rain. The document, well, that was the other thing. You have Nick over there and all his arrogance stating that document was part of a civil suit against another creator. No, it wasn't. It was part of a custody dispute. He didn't even know what the document came from. The man knows nothing. It's annoying.
Well, next time you want to be taken seriously, Gren, you got to get those nice sunglasses and walk around Pennsylvania Park.
That's right. Yeah, I should go. I should go and try to catch Nick in his walking in circles and show you all the real him. Wouldn't that be grand?
Well, they'll say that you're doxing and you're trying to destroy it. You go in real life, so you can't do that.
Well,
the usual stuff.
I don't want to dox the park.
You don't want to dox the park, you know.
Yeah.
It's just
I,
weird.
I actually don't even want to be in his presence, but Nick was saying women lie, like that was sus. Well, he's a huge Me Too. They back up Bill Cosby.
Who
Think
backs
about
up
that.
Bill Cosby? That's like backing up Weinstein.
Right. Well, you know,
I
think
mean, like,
think about the names he listed. The fact that this man stated they have the ability to get people in the Me Too movement and get people out of the Me Too movement. What the hell does that mean?
that sounds sus to me.
It's weird.
We have the power to like, to me, like the only way you can get someone out of a situation where there's an actual, unless you have some material, let's just say that much,
Right.
that you can use as blackmail. Thank you. No problem. It's good talking to you, SS.
That's crazy. What do you
What
think of
member
that?
of the elite comes
Yeah.
out and says, I'm a
Yeah.
member of the elite or the
Right.
Illuminati? I
I'm
mean,
a
it's so simple. It's like rich people. They don't run around and tell people they're rich. They don't have to.
Hey,
Yeah, I don't-
Karen. No,
Yeah.
you're right. That's like, what else did he say? Oh, they're renowned, right? They're renowned amongst the elite. And then he comes out and says, this is the first time anybody's ever heard of us. Like, what? Which one is it?
Yeah, I don't think Warren Buffett's like, sitting there talking to Nick the Hat, because I consider him part of the elite. He's worth like over $100 billion. You know what I mean?
First rule of the elite club. B10, the best thing you said pertaining to this, and it really stood out to me, is that if he was really being sponsored by the elite, they would have this man in a suit in an office with an actual camera on him, and he would be professional. He would be coming out as a professional, not some nimwit walking around in circles at a state park with a Red Bull and a vape in his hand.
And
Hey,
using
Nicole.
a shitty iPhone.
Right.
And, like, come on, what are we doing here?
And his head
Fresh out of
down.
jail. Did you say he still is on parole, right, Granny? That's true. He can't leave the state.
You know what? To be honest, I'll tell you guys this much. You can't find those documents. I can't find them.
Interesting. I wonder
interesting.
I wonder if he made a deal with a group of people.
Right.
With 3 letters involved with their name. I don't know.
The only thing you can find is the one, the drug charge is all you can find.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting.
I've looked high and low and I can't find anything. So I don't know the rumor of a 13-year-old in pregnancy. I know nothing about that. He's the next. I'll tell you what. Again, if this guy was as professional, I mean, at least, hold the phone. I don't know. Just he's so arrogant. It's so annoying, to be honest.
Well,
he's taught in the audience too, like, oh, Tennessee, here we come, and first day, Tennessee, and then we find out he's not in Tennessee. Oh, a Taco Tuesday or Tennessee Tuesday? What is this, a game for you? Either you were hired or you weren't. Lesnick was the lawyer.
Yeah, he says he has a bunch of law firms talking to him, but I just think he just has a criminal attorney that he had to work with due to his past. Let's just say that much.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be very wondering where this money's coming from, because 25 G's just throwing out somewhere, getting all this stuff, to me, sketchy. Just like Dog Bounty Hunters charity, sketchy to me.
And that is one thing he kept saying during Danilo, like, oh, I just got an insider tip from the FBI agent I'm friends with. And I know that it was actually JLR. Just saying. I also know that a lot of times what they would do is they would look for something that looked like there was a lot of action popping off to make that a thumbnail, but there was actually no real action going on there. It is a little personal. I'm not going to lie. I do feel a little personal about this. You know why I feel personal about it, Vivian? And I know you'd likely disagree. I feel personal about it because there are a lot of people that genuinely care about Sebastian. And they have this guy coming in saying, we got the cavalry, we got the elite, we got the money, we got the resources. We can call and get helicopters and dogs and all these things with the snap of a finger, and we're going to solve this. And those people are now putting not only their faith, but their money behind this guy, when really, again, he's just a fool walking around a state park with a Red Bull and a vape and an iPhone. That's it. So I feel bad that there are going to be people swindled, which is why I'm so thankful, like the lab or not, that the lab even made a statement and said, don't fall for this. I don't want to see more people that genuinely care be taken advantage of.
That's what blows my mind on YouTube. How have people not learned from Summer Wells' case? The little girl who's still not found, Don
Right.
and Candace, who are still living up on Ben Hill Road, and they lost their boys. Sometimes I think that if it wasn't for YouTube and everything that took place, and they're just as guilty with their shenanigans that they pulled, maybe they would have their boys, you know?
So sad. Yeah, that's right. He did say Bruce Castor, who honestly doesn't even have the best of reputation in Pennsylvania. This is Bruce Castor here, which I would love to know. Is Bruce Castor aware that he's throwing out these names? I mean, he even threw out the Clinton Foundation.
I wouldn't throw out the Clinton Foundation personally. I think it's just like the Clinton Foundation. I think it's just like one of those money making schemes. To be honest with you, if you want to make a lot of money, that's one way to do it. Make a foundation, get your friends and family, get high paid roles, and get a couple of good grant writers to get some money and get some good publicity, and boom, you're running into the millions, baby. Millions.
Is there even a photo, unless I missed it, is there a photo of this Nick and dog actually together?
No,
Any past history?
There's not. And one thing I've noticed is dog has not really announced the his connection to Nick. He's not being mentioned in news articles. He's not coming on News Nation with them, nothing. And this Lesnick, is Lesnick the same lawyer he said before that was setting up the reward fund that he's claiming the police didn't want, but at one point he tells us the police did want it and he had one organized. Remember that? And then something about the lawyer was being shady with the whatever happened to the checks that were written.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Lesnick. It was another. This was Seth. Remember, he was like the lawyer only accepts checks and stuff like that. Addressed to him personally. Yeah, I think that was. I don't know. Like he never really said that lawyer's name. I know the cease and desist had a female lawyer that was like a custody lawyer. That's the name on there. But the other lawyer.
That makes me curious though. If you think about it, on one hand, he said there was a reward fund and that you can send, and then he said, no, that, we can't get a hold of that lawyer. He's being a little shady. But then a few weeks later, he came back out and announced again that this reward fund was up and operating. Nothing came of it again. It was crickets. And then we hear, oh, well, we didn't set a reward fund because the police didn't want one. So which part is it? Hey, Nonsense.
Good morning.
Well, I read in one of, sorry, Nonsense. I'll just be real quick. I read in one of Nick Barris's tweets that he reached out to Nick to talk to him and get confirmation about the $25,000, and he never returned any of his phone calls.
Oh, that's interesting. So Nick Barris tried reaching out to Nick about the $25K and didn't get a response.
You mean?
Yeah, I don't have it screenshotted because I'm not like that type of person who does things to do that. But I did read it, so I wouldn't lie to you.
All right, Nick is currently on parole. He's paroled. Yeah.
All right, Nonsense. What you got to say?
He's on supervised custody. He's paroled. And he is, his reporting agency is Pennsylvania Department of Corrections. So yeah, he's a parolee.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna step down since Nonsense came up. Make room for more people to come up and talk.
There's plenty of room.
You
don't have to jump down. There's plenty. Yeah.
No, I gotta start getting my day ready anyway. But I appreciate it. It was a great conversation, and I'll just go back to chat and check with you guys later.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
I didn't mean to run anybody off. I just wanted to come up and say
you're scaring people, Nonsense.
I know.
I don't understand this.
Boo. Granny, I know that you I'm not gonna go in depth here, but because I don't want to scare anybody. But you know a little bit more, and you follow a similar path of thought I do on certain things, if you get what I'm saying. Okay,
I do.
If you look at Dog the Bounty Hunter, let's just go there. This is an easy one for people to get.
I know exactly where you're going.
So he's in debt. What, 1.6 million according to Yahoo.com. from 2023 with IRS liens. So
speaking of Yahoo,
yeah, there's just so much. So the question, and I'm trying not to get like caught up in the weeds here because I don't want to do that on your panel, but what dog has been trying to do since 2022, and you can go back and see all of this yourselves. I've shown a pattern of it too, but the information is out there for people that want it. Dog and his new wife have started recently attempting to use another noble cause as human trafficking.
Yeah.
They went on all these shows, they did all these podcasts, they talked about the House of Bounty linked to the Dog Foundation. Well, the Dog Foundation, I was kind of showing a brief little overview or talking about it yesterday, beat him dug in further, rabbit dug in, like it just kind of trickled from there. But they do have a foundation that they are trying to set up homes for aftercare for trafficking victims, so on and so forth. There's nothing on the website besides a donate button that you can get to. But Dog himself
beats him. That is not even a registered 501c3, right? Beats him.
No, it's a registered. It's not registered in that name. It's registered in the wife's name, and it's and basically they haven't filed a 990E at all. There's no revenue on that. They're showing under $50,000, and also and this is established in 2022, and it's in its wife's name, and it looks like it's its home address. It's the principal address. It looks like it's their home address. I put the EIN number in the back, by the way, for your nonsense. And it's just, and I saw the letter of incorporation, basically the charity and stuff like that.
I found it.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, how do you not have a 990 filed?
Well, there's a lot of interesting things. So if you follow that kind of thing, like to me, again, this just kind of all stems back to these people want attention. I don't think it's any more than that is perfect opportunity. He has been going on shows such as Fox News as of recently. Again, I don't care how you feel about, sorry, there's a really loud plane out here. Really
That's
loud.
next to Hat's plane. He's going to get you now. You're done for.
They're watching. It's the elite. The elite ninja's about to drop down and hypnotize and drug you.
Yeah,
run.
You're going to have to change your
I
tune.
always feel like somebody's watching me.
Yeah. Run for your life.
I just can't keep up with their eyes. I wish he would take his sunglasses off. His eyes twitch back and forth so fast I can barely keep up with between his eyes and his walking. I feel like I'm losing my mind watching the guy.
Don't forget his hand movements, his rapid hand movements.
God. Yeah. Oh, it's a lot. And then hyping him up in like 1.5 speed is like, oh no, this is terrible. But if you follow that line of thought, like so many people with this type of persona, zealous celebrities have used noble causes such as trafficking, missing children to interject themselves because everybody wants kids found. They want these things taken care of. And they throw money at these causes right and left. Like they just open up their wallets and they don't look into it any further. Oh, these people say these things. We know them from this show before, and they don't take it a step further. There has been so much that has been talked about, and how Nick and Doug got aligned is interesting to me. But it's all right there. Like they're looking for attention, in my opinion. This is a great way. He tried to get involved in the Kylie Rodney story. He tried to get involved in the Brian Laundrie, Kylie Rodney. There was somebody else. There was another case that they mentioned recently that he tried to get involved in too and didn't get any attention off of. But this has been an attempt of his for quite some time. And I think it's just to bolster his own personal endeavors. And that's all it is, in my opinion.
You don't think they're hired to be distractions because they're going to get a confession out of Seth and they're planted by the FBI? And you don't think all that?
No, that's some Ballard truth serum bullshit. Like, might as well just get a scroll and some ketamine and go in with a psychic. And no, absolutely not. No, I think it's just self-serving purposes, and they've interjected themselves, and they knew how to make a splash. These guys know they're professionals in that arena, in my opinion. Again, they know how to get attention, bringing up some truth serum. Of course, illegal things, like people are going to gravitate to that. And he keeps like trying to drop these wealthy names and these high-powered positions. Attorney generals can be corrupt.
They are. He doesn't have a good reputation. Bruce Castor does not have a good reputation.
Right. Yeah.
How about?
I mean, it's just crazy.
And if you look, this is where his connection to Bruce Castor is right here. Kevin Steele, who ran 11th Hour campaign, contended Castor should have charged entertainer Bill Cosby in 2005. Well, isn't it funny that Castor countered that Steele could have arrested Cosby himself and intervened? Isn't it funny they're all connected to Bill Cosby in current day? A week before election, Andrea Costin, who had accused Cosby of sexual assault in Montgomery County, sued Castor, claiming he defamed her by intimidating she was not credible. Isn't it? And now look, they're all connected as the Bill Cosby.
You could take that further too.
Yeah.
That's a major problem to me, is why does Nick the Hat come out and defend Sylvester Stallone? He was not found guilty, but there was accusations and there was reports made, and that people blew the whistle on that. And he is a huge defender of him, like, and keeps name dropping him. Like, the people he name drops have horrific allegations. And why is he defending all these people? Like, there's a lot there.
Well, I find this to be particularly interesting, is that he was the one that wanted to charge Cosby, and now we find out he works hand in hand in Cosby's defense group, the people that represented Cosby. He said it. They have the power to get you in the Me Too movement and get you out of the Me Too movement. Or did Nick the Hat just admit to corruption amongst this? His participation in corruption? That sounds like an admittance to me.
And then if you take it a step further, who's starting his side too stuff? And
Castor declined to prosecute Cosby. He declined to prosecute him for it. And now we find out he works hand in hand by Nick's admit. I mean, this is a big deal.
There's a lot deeper stuff here that I know you get it. Like, you and I get it.
I hear myself coming through. I'm like getting hype about it. This is a big fucking deal.
That's why I have been so like, what are you people thinking? Like, people are like, well, this just, no big deal. They're just, no, this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. There's a lot more going on here. And now that they are using a missing child, like, that's the sad reality of the situation, is they are using missing children, tragedies, like noble causes.
By the way, I just wanted to state this. I do not get it, and please do not. I will never take my own unalive myself, and I do not get these two, and I don't know anything what they're talking about. Just saying. With the whole Cosby stuff, they get it, not me. I don't get it, guys. Just make sure. And I like to live. I
like to live. I mean, honestly, though, how deep does this corruption go? This is a little concerning.
It's deep. It's deep. I've fallen in a rabbit hole that I'm like trying to swim my way out of. And it just keeps going. The further you look, the more connections that you find. And it's like one of those things that I had a gut feeling at first, because I was just like, some of the things that they're saying is very Then I started looking, and then one thing connected to the other. And if you go down that rabbit hole, be prepared. You need your tinfoil hats, a reinforced metal as shield, and it's some crazy crap.
I mean, just look at this right here. Castor testified that he made a promise to never prosecute Cosby for the incident. And now we find out that he is working with Bill Cosby's PR guy and Nick the Hat. I mean, it was corruption, and those women, she sued Castor for him doing this to her. I mean, that's a big deal.
Well, I mean, that's kind of not unusual. I mean, for instance, lobbyists who used to be, formerly worked in Congress, like the guys, they personally get guys that run these organizations or like run these types of in government positions, or supervise actual corporations, because they know the ropes. And also it's kind of like a favor, like, oh, don't step over the line too much, and we'll make sure you get a job after you retire. Just, wink, wink. You know what I mean? That's usually how it goes, and that's probably what he was promised. He was probably like, promised a position of money, like get a job after he was done.
Oh my gosh, look at this. So the Supreme Court on June 30th, which held that Castor's non-prosecution pledge was in fact binding on Cosby's prosecutor. This ruling resulted in the overturning of Cosby's conviction and his release from prison.
Yep.
This is gross.
There's some shady dealings for sure, in my opinion. That's my opinion, but there's some definite interesting things, no matter which way you look on Nick, Dog, any of it. Like, it is the crazy things that, it's a lot. There's a lot there. But I didn't want to take up your time. I just wanted to mention a few of those
And I
things
just want to
because
note, I want to notice that Nonsense Loves Life would never do anything to herself, and if she
Right.
ends up in
what?
in the pool,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
They're
wasn't.
elite ninjas.
It
Well, we
was,
already know if something happens, like it's probably a blowtorch, a scorpion, or one of these people that I just. Yeah, this is just the same crap though that we continue to see, this wash, rinse, repeat with these people with power and money or who align themselves. It's just a crazy situation going on, and now they're using missing children to get their names out there and get some attention. It's truly sad. And
well, what's the best way to stop? What's the best way to basically silence any sort of let's say someone was as trafficked and stuff like that, then to basically own the charity
yeah,
that they go into, and then you can actually silence them. Oh, you'll let the ones that don't say anything major, but
Oh gosh.
you know what I mean? Then you control the narrative as well and the
Yep.
money.
You
and
get
stuff
ahead
like
of
that.
it.
Yeah.
That's
And
scary.
when you're opening up your doors and saying that you're taking in people that have no place to go after prison, and you're going to offer them the support in this 2-year program and stuff, and have them come live there, so they go from prison where they're not getting proper. Sorry, this plane is super loud. They're following me.
Yeah,
They
they're
are.
dunzo. You might be in trouble.
Come and find me. No, it's really scary though, because they're re-victimizing victims. People don't get proper support in prison, so it's the easy to prey upon and re-victimize these victims by saying that they're having all these supports and these programs set up to take people in. This is Dogs Foundation I'm talking about. You can go look it up yourself. It's the dogfoundation.com. They say that they offer all this stuff, and they've been on podcasts saying that they are going to do all these things, but they needed funding for it. Like, he talks about funding, and he talks about, in one of the articles, or one of the things I pulled up, is he says that, in bounty hunting, there was a reward attached, so they would make some money. Well, in this kind of stuff, there's no reward attached, so they've got to get funding from somewhere, and that was just from 2022. So
Look at this. Look at this. And this caster guy, he's all over productions. He's in a television show. He's over here in a book.
Well, think about how much money the one movie just raked in, how many millions of dollars, and that was a false narrative from Jump that was started in 2023 or 2013 with B-roll footage with the intent of getting a reality TV show, finally came to the big screen in 2023 and made millions of dollars and toted a false narrative. What's to say these guys aren't doing the same type of thing? Think about it.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
the same stuff.
And again, that's where Dog comes in. Dog is a reality TV guy. I mean, we can give credit that Dog does have experience or even resources or connections and all that stuff. We can do that. But at the end of the day, Dog used to chase down, meth addicts that weren't hard to find. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
by
he
the
wasn't.
way, I find it interesting that he was doing a lot of speaking gigs. Dog the Bounty Hunter was doing a lot of speaking gigs with Celia Freedom or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You ever see that? And it also focuses, it makes millions of dollars, and it also focuses on ex trafficking and all that stuff.
Yes, beat him. Yes, beat him.
So
Keep going down that hole. You're gonna get somewhere else. Ugh.
Is there? So that could lead to one of two things, right? Do we believe that Sebastian is a victim of online trafficking?
No, I'm just saying that this is basically Dog the Bounty Hunter, how he's going to initiate a new grift for himself, and his charity is very sketchy.
A faith-based nonprofit.
Who's to say that now that the FBI put that reward out there and it opened up that arena, that some people are able to put that back on the board of, we truly don't know what has happened. So that opens up that possibility to some. So what if there was that potential, because we truly don't know what happened to Sebastian. Yeah. We have no idea. So what would it look like on your resume to come in at the last minute after the FBI offers a $50,000 reward, throw this $25,000 out that is basically a promise to pay. I mean, it is what it is. Who knows where that will ever come from, if it will. And then to have this child appear or be found, and you're there in the, I don't know.
Well, even
Right.
if, let's say, the child's not found, you could just grab Tony Mathis and Seth
Yep.
Seth Rogers, and pulls them into this organization, make them like a spokesperson for this charity kind of thing, and raise money, and give Mr. Tony Mathis a nice position in the charity. You know
It
what I
wasn't
mean?
long ago that there was a discussion on T-Rev 757's panel with Seth about wanting to start an organization and what they needed to do to get an organization started, and mention of a fund or something that they wanted to potentially start when it was being discussed about a reward and stuff of that nature. If you go back and look at stuff, it's just there. I'm going to jump down though because I got to go back to kids. But
Really quick nonsense, really
yes.
quick. I think I need to email you because you got my mind going in 100 places right now.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Actually, go ahead. You can get back to the kids. I don't even know what I'm just baffled. I'm reading all this stuff off screen right now, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is
Oh, keep going, Granny. Like, if you can email me too, and I'll send you a bunch of the stuff that we've been stumbling upon. Because it's this rabbit hole of just connecting pieces, and none of them connect to anything good. They connect to horrible essay allegations, celebrities, people in positions, that just some real interesting things.
So what you're saying is Nick might be having the Illuminati represented, but not in a good way. Okay, good.
No, well, I wouldn't give him that much credit. Come on now.
I'm joking.
Yeah, that's my thing. When it comes to Nick, again, I don't believe he's actually as in with these group of people as he pretends to be.
Nah.
I think he's just a LARPer. He's a leech. But I do find it interesting that all the names that he is shouting out, claiming are back in this, all have a shady background. Every single one of them.
Yep. By design, in my opinion. And they're professional LARPers. They're professional. This is what they've gotten through. This is what he did with the emails and setting people up. Like, that takes some skill. These are ultimate trolls that have found a way. Like, somebody let him out of the basement finally, and here we are. So,
and who opened that door? I'm sorry, but let's be honest. We all know who opened that door for him. But why? What was the intent behind that? Thank you, Capital K.
I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And Granny, you can email me if you've got questions, because it gets deeper and deeper the further you look. So
yeah, I'm actually seeing that. That's crazy.
It was nice knowing you. Nonsense. I'm sure.
Yeah,
if I lived here in the desert, it was probably just a scorpion or some online person. So
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
And just because we spoke about how heavily wooded it is, this is just a photo of Chloe, the PI, as she was searching for Sebastian, just showing you just how wooded it is. I can't find B10 where Nick Barris asked Nick to have for a statement on the 25K. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen any proof that 25K or 50K exists. I think this is a LARP. I don't think he actually has the fucking money. And
yeah.
I think he just said it because the chances are, when does he have to actually show the 25K? If Sebastian's found. And if he's found by the police, then he doesn't have to pay Jack. If he's
if they're getting all the tips and they're going to be the ones to find them, why are they offering a reward? Aren't they that confident in themselves?
Why would you even allow tips to be going to you? You know,
right?
You should just direct it to the cops.
Because he's not actually working with the FBI. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of it's LARPing, and it's just a bunch of BS. I could smell BS from a mile away.
I agree.
This guy would do great in advertising. He would do great. I think he misses calling on advertising and possibly
selling cars, right? Yeah, exactly.
Cars.
411 thumbs up. We can get higher than that. Nick Barris says something like there's been an addition to reward, but they can't prove it yet, or something. It was a few days ago. Interesting. SF put out a tweet last night, which is interesting. I can't fathom being such an utter flop at life. Examples: Betty, missing 911. That you have no choice but to obsess over someone else's success because you've achieved absolutely nothing of your own. If you want to challenge me, bring your so-called success to the table. Let's compare fair, viable results head to head, and we'll see exactly why families choose me. They choose me because I deliver real results. I'm honest, and nothing matters more to me than the families and their missing loved ones. They're not just a payday or a headline. They are my priority, and I give them every ounce of effort and energy I have. That's the difference. People like you, flops, don't have the skill, integrity, or most importantly, the empathy to be involved in missing person cases. You just want to ride the coattails of others because you lack the ability, the skill, and the heart. Thank you for your incompetence. Keeps you sidelined to the comment section for the most part, while the professionals handle the cases. That's kind of true. That's interesting.
Yeah,
And Trevor Lee's about to go. Trevor Lee's going to be meeting up with SF in Tennessee as they do an actual search for Sebastian.
Yeah, and I just think, like, the end of the day, all these people are just there for their very. I mean, like, if you take anything from this particular stream or any stream, Nick the Hat, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Tony Mathis, 2 a.m. of Girls, all these people are out there for their own reasons. They're not out. Yep. They're all looking for their own piece of the pie, and it's bringing them to this particular case. And don't be fooled by any of these people. And they'll stay. Oh, the drama channels are terrible. They're not bringing any positivity. The truth of the matter is, we're just telling you the information that's available about these people. If these people were legit and clean, there wouldn't be anything to talk about. There'd be zero to talk about. We'd move on to something else. It'd be as simple as that. There has to be something to talk about,
Right. And like Nick said the other day, if it wasn't for YouTubers talking, they would have never caught it. They would have never heard it. Right. So it's not a bad thing. I just think what SF says here is he's right. They're trying to ride the coattails as a headline and leave it to the professionals. If there's anybody we should be putting our faith and our hope into, it is SF, Trevor Lee, Chloe, the actual professionals that are in Tennessee.
And they're saying, someone asked, like, why did they not, like, the FBI denounce Nick the Hat? Because the FBI are not going to just go there and denounce. Nick the Hat is a rando. Do you think they even know who the Nick the Hat is? Like, the FBI, well, maybe they know him as an informant, but maybe that's a possibility. But besides that, like, they're focused on like so many other situations other than Nick the Hat. Like, let's be real.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think the only way the FBI, I don't think they're going to come out and make a statement on Nick the Hat, but I do believe the FBI has been made aware of Nick the Hat.
Yeah, I don't know.
No doubt about it. I mean, I know without a doubt that there are people that need to be warned about Nick the Hat and his antics that have touched base with the FBI to be like, yeah, this is going on now.
Yeah, I don't think Nick the Hat is like a genius, brilliant fucking troll, though. Like fucking
no, I don't either.
Like Nikocado Avocado, where he faked 2 years being online with like old videos to just
now.
lose 250
Let's talk about that for a second, Tim, because I know you guys found that to be weird. I found it to be brilliant because right before you brought that up, my son was like, "Mom, you got to see this." So I watched it. And he's like, "Wait till you see who's under that panda hat." And I actually thought it was a great social experiment because what he was saying is, you're all living in this delusion. Bunch of cloud chasers have been shaming me for 2 years, calling me a fat slob and all these things. Meanwhile, I was off in the real world living this fantastic life of losing weight.
Yeah, he was basically, his last video 2 years ago, someone made like a Batman avatar with him like, joking. And he's explaining about consuming. And he says, like, I just wake up and get paid. And I'm always 2 steps ahead. And then 2 years later, he comes out and he says, I lost all the weight. I'm healthy and I'm a multimillionaire. You guys,
and you've been lining my pocket by living in this fantasy world. I got it, Tammy. This fantasy world of shaming me, and you're so busy hating me and not living it. I thought it was a brilliant thing what he did. It was a good lesson.
I mean, that was the funniest, and like people were like seriously shocked. Like it was shocking because it was like, how do you lose 250 pounds like 2 years hiding it? Like you would think someone would have saw him, but he hit that shit well.
He did hide it well. And here's where Nick Barris, so it was 3 days ago, he makes a statement. We know the FBI has posted a 50,000 reward, and there is talk that another private individual is offering an additional 25K. I reached out to that person, but I've not yet heard back, so I cannot confirm. Hopefully it's true. So they're not even responding to Nick Barris. Hey, Infamous Truth. And then, of course, Nick makes another tweet of why, it is a big deal. I know people are saying, oh, who cares that they're saying truth serum? No, it is a big damn deal. Very big deal. And it right here shows you why. So, I don't know.
Up here, I don't stay long, but I put a link in the back chat. And I don't know if you come across that article yet, but there's an article talking a little more in detail what Dog's plan was about the foundation. kind of
Okay.
it kind of gives a detail. It's an interesting article, so I don't know if you want
I'll
to
check it out. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, it also, sorry, Infamous. I just, over here, he even says this harebrained scheme from a group that isn't licensed as investigators and lacks both the legal and medical authority to perform interrogation. It's not only illegal, it's dangerous. Not only are they unlicensed, but multiple members involved are reportedly felons and parolees. Their involvement undermines the integrity of the investigation and risks invalidating any genuine evidence that could lead to discovering what happened to Sebastian Rogers. I mean, please listen to SF Investigates here, guys. This is a very big deal what these guys are doing. Now, I don't even think people understand. I think so many people want this fantasy, Tim, of this being like an episode of, Law and Order and Undercover Ops and all these things, that they're not understanding or grasping the actual severity of what these people are coming out here and saying their plans are. It's crazy.
Yeah. But,
Oh, right here. Here we go. Finally, I've been in contact with local, state, and federal law enforcement about this. This includes FBI. If this group suggests that they are working with or have the approval of any state or federal law enforcement agency, it should be reported immediately. These agencies want to know if such false claims are being made. So he's telling you here, they're lying. They're lying. They're not involved with the FBI. I honestly believe SF over anybody. Crazy.
Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Anyway, Granny, I gotta skedaddle. It's good
I'm
talking
gonna
to you.
You as well. I always appreciate you coming up and having
problem.
common sense. Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
You as well. All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap this up. I think like I said, I think it's most important that we put our faith and stock into somebody who's professional like SF and let these, wannabe LARPing weird people sit over in the corner. One thing I do agree on is the less attention we give, the better. And that's where I'm at with it. I think we should just act like this guy's never came on the scenes. I don't think we need to talk about him. I don't think we should hate watch him. I don't think we should further push his agenda, because that's exactly what this is. This is an agenda. And it's a gross one. And it's at the expense of a missing 15-year-old boy. We're going to have Dog the Bounty Hunter and this Nick guy come in and take the forefront over Sebastian Rogers nearly 6.5, almost 7 months later. I don't think so. Right there, messing with real lives and ending is not going to be great if it keeps going no matter what. And that's the side part of Sebastian being missing. I agree. So let's end it how we should, on the note that matters, which is Sebastian Rogers. I hope you all have a great Sunday. Keep Sebastian in your prayers. Keep Katie in your prayers. Chris, even Seth Rogers. And let's hope that even Seth has somebody around him to protect him from this group and whatever the intents are, because I don't believe it is with the forethought of Sebastian Rogers. I just don't believe that. On February 26, 2024, an Amber Alert went out for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian is white, 5'5", 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Sebastian was last seen wearing a black long-sleeve shirt, black sweatpants, and glasses. He has a medical condition that may impair his ability to return safely without assistance. If you have seen Sebastian or have information regarding his whereabouts, please contact the Sumner County Emergency Center or TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Let's take this moment to pray for Sebastian's safe return.